A battle underneath the Hoosier sky between two Week 1 winners as the Sparkplugs of Speedway High School and the Scecina Crusaders face off tonight on IndianaSRN. Both offenses put up 40-plus points in each of their games last week, and the defenses shut out their opponents as Scecina defeated Phelan Academy 55-0 and Speedway defeated Covenant Christian 41-0. Today's broadcast is brought to you by the Morales Group, Bertner Electric, IUPUI Sports Management, Piper Logistics, and Reynolds Farm Equipment. Hello, everyone. Joey Lindstrom alongside my broadcast partner, Tony Donahue. It's good to have you in the booth, partner. We have a game tonight that features two teams who are dominant offensively, but also dominant defensively. So which team is going to be the heir apparent to tip that scale a little bit? And it really starts with both these offenses and their best skill players. We'll start on the Speedway side. DJ McPherson is an absolute beast, and he ran all over the field last week. Yeah, and you look back at last week with the way that both teams won, right? And you wonder who played and how much did they play, because these kids are still coming off two-a-days a few weeks ago, and that varsity team might have only played 2 or 3 quarters last week. So a lot of things to play into tonight. But, yeah, you've got to stop the run on both sides if you're the defense. That's going to be the key tonight. And we don't see a lot of passing on one side, and that could open up some things, right? Because that running game, all it does is open up that passing game to go deep. So it should be an interesting one tonight. And two teams that, yes, we're week 2. You don't want to start looking ahead, but have expectations to start the season to go deep and make a playoff run through the month of October. Scecina only threw one pass last week, and it was effective. 1 for 1 and a touchdown. They amassed over 120 yards rushing the ball in the first half against Phelan Leadership Academy. But on the Speedway side, they were up big. 3 touchdowns in the beginning of that first quarter against Covenant Christian, a team that has had a lot of success in the past. Let's focus on the Scecina squad. 3 different rushers, Tony, above 40 yards, and that really speaks to what Coach Hurley is trying to implement with this team. They want to be physical, fast, and establish some dominance right out the gate. Yeah, and I think communication is going to be huge tonight, especially on the Speedway defensive side of things, right? Because you're going to have 3 running backs in the box at times. You don't know which formation or package that you're going to see. There might be a few fake handoffs here, pitches out this way. So Speedway's defense is going to have to be on their toes. But, yeah, that's a fast-paced ball game last week when you're running the football and you have over 3 rushers rushing for 40-plus yards. So that means it's going to be quick. So are you in shape? Are you hydrated? It's a pretty warm night from Beech Grove here tonight, and you're still coming off, like I said, one game last week where maybe you didn't play as much as what you thought of that you would have if it was a closer game. But, this rushing attack is going to be something that's going to be needed to be stopped by Speedway. If not, we're going to see some long runs tonight out of Scecina, and that could be really the difference in tonight's ballgame. Coach Shane Clampett for Speedway, to your point, he's got his guys ready, and Scecina has Coach Ott Hurley, who has been there for a millennia. Mm-hmm. It's his 31st year at the school. Last year was his best since 2018 when they went 11-2, lost in the regional last year. They finished 10-4, 6-3 in the regular season. On the Speedway side, Shane Clampett, in just his second year coaching at Speedway, 10-3. Overall, as a head coach, 9-3 last season, and it was their best season since 2013 when they went 8-4. He gives a lot of credit to the offensive staff and Johnny West and Brian Busser, the offensive coordinator, and the O-line coach. On the opposite side of the ball, defensive coordinator Evan James will run that show. When we talked to Coach Ott Hurley for Scecina, he mentioned, we don't really have a theme for the year. We don't have a motto. Frankly, he may be at the point in his career where he's like, I'm over that stuff. But we don't need any of the glitz and glamour. We just work hard and play hard. They train differently this summer. Mm-hmm. They train with a lot more weights. They didn't wear pads until late July, which typically when you run camp, you're working those in at the end of June even, right? So they really focused on the fundamentals. They didn't focus too much on the hitting, but but if we know anything from last week's game, they're going to come hit you and hit you hard. Yeah, and when you have the leadership like you do at Scecina, and it's a smash mouth type football team where you're going to run the football a lot tonight, that really sets you up for the nasty weather type situations when you get into October and even early November deep in the runs.
And Scecina knows how to get there. I mean, obviously, they're always right there in that Indiana Crossroads Conference, competing year in and year out. Now, on the Speedway side, you mentioned it, Evan James, a lot of experience as a defensive coordinator, comes from a lineage of family coaches in Monrovia and elsewhere on the west side of Indianapolis. And same goes for Johnny West, an offensive coordinator that has plenty of experience, knows how to switch things up, knows how to adjust. And half of high school football's battle every night is, can you adjust to what the defense is throwing at you? And we'll see who starts making those adjustments here early, because if Scecina can get the running game going early and often, Speedway's defense is going to have to adjust. But if Speedway's defense says, no, we're going to make you throw the football, then all of a sudden Scecina's going to have to go back to the playbook and say, all right, what do we have to do to get back to a little bit to the running game, but to move the chains? So keys here real quick, early and often. Move the chains, keep things rolling, get those first downs. Don't get yourself into long third down situations. That's obvious. And then field position, right? These are two teams that know how to get up and down. We saw it with the scoreboard last week. Field position is going to be key here tonight, and that could come from special teams. So look for one of these teams to have the advantage early by continuing to move those chains and getting that the opposition, the defense, on their toes early, and therefore set yourself up for a four-quarter game.
It is going to be a four-quarter battle. There is no doubt about that. Scecina finished the year losing in semi-state to Lafayette Central Catholic, and the same fate befell Speedway against Lafayette Central Catholic. They lost in the round previous to the semi-state in that regional. So these teams actually could have met in semi-state very well. But after Speedway now moving up into 3A, that will no longer be a potential for the playoffs. So we get it now in week 2, which is exciting. And we're getting ready for kick here on IndianaSRN. Perfect time to let you know this broadcast is copyright by IndianaSRN and the Indiana High School Athletic Association for the private use of our audience. The use of pictures, videos, and audio without the express written permission of the IHSAA is prohibited.
And what'll be interesting here, probably early on, the first team to score, that defense is going, well, this is the first time we've seen this. So how do you react to going on the field as an offense, knowing that you're down for the first time this season? Yes, it's only week 2, but pitching 2 shutouts last week, the defenses on both sides are riding high. So how do you react to that? And if this does indeed, like you mentioned, get into a shootout, it may come down to who can simply just make a stop late in this game. So we'll see with Speedway kicking off here.
Ben Haviland with 1 touchback last week. We'll let this one ride. This is a dribbler scooped up around the 20-yard line by Mason Berryald, another key player for Scecina that we'll get into later. And if you'll notice, the home field tonight for Scecina is Beech Grove High School, generously offered there by the Beech Grove Hornets. And Scecina will start their drive at the 31. Give us a chance to talk about Mendez. David Mendez is a player that, while he only threw 1 pass last week, he was efficient in the way that he was managing the game. And not only that, he was also able to command this offense. Especially when you run a power scheme, you need a guy like him behind center.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like I mentioned here earlier, you've got 2 guys in the backfield. So you got to be paying attention on the Speedway defense of who gets the football, obviously with one guy coming out of the motion there.
He's going to keep it, run through that B gap, and get swallowed just for a 1-yard gain down at the 32.
And the first move of the evening so far, and kudos to Speedway and the coaching staff for doing what they needed to do watching the video. They kicked it away from a guy who took it all the way to the house last week. So I think if you could pin Scecina on every kickoff to start each drive within that 30-yard line, you'll take that if you're on the Speedway sidelines.
Marvin Germany, that D-tackle, was the initial player on the stop. And Mendez and the Crusaders will have a 2nd down and 9. Power eye out of the pistol, and we have a stoppage. False start will be the call.
And again, we talked about who's going to make these mistakes, and right there, you know, you're technically at your home ballpark, right? Obviously, you're in Beech Grove, but those are these things that can happen. Get it out of the way, and these things did happen last week, but it doesn't matter when you're up 32, 35-0. Now, early in the game, you can't have this because you didn't get yards on your first play. Now you're looking at a 2nd down and long, about 2nd and 14 here from about the 27-yard line.
Coach Hurley always expressing that the mental mistakes, you can't have them. You need to not be able to shoot yourself in the foot. This is going to be handoff up the middle to to Mason Berryalt. Excuse me, that's Madden Berryalt.
And again,
From
Speedway
spot.
doing a great job. They've got 3 on the line here. And now with a quarterback that only threw the ball one time last week, you're looking at a 3rd down and about 11 to 12 yards. Do you go to the air here early, or do you keep it on the ground and hope you can break something?
Since we don't know yards, you guys give your best estimate, and I'll go on that.
3rd and 12 here for Scecina. Again out of the pistol. This time, Mendez over the middle. He finds his receiver past the 50-yard line. That one will be Keaton Tybo.
Great route there. Great patience from the quarterback. Awesome hold up there by the offensive line. There was no pressure at all. A nice quick slant pattern, good for about 32 yards and a 1st down.
He only threw one pass last week for 15 yards, 1 for 1 and a touchdown. That one amassed 26 yards through the air, and it's going to be a 1st down for Scecina.
Now the pace and the tempo picking up here. Let's see if they keep it on the ground or they go to the air.
They will go back to the air. On the slant, again, Tybo had it in his hands briefly and dropped it. It was right in his breadbasket. Let's take another look at that previous play, Tony.
Great protection here. You've got 5 on the line going up against 4. No real blitz right here, and then you just fake right, go left across the middle, and a great pass, put it right in his breadbasket for the 1st down.
Found that hole in the defense and let the rocket fly. A great play to get yourself another set of downs. And now you're faced with 2nd and 10 after the incompletion.
5 on the line here for Speedway. Looks like somebody might have jumped again.
The guilty party was Mason Berryalt in that slot receiver position. And that certainly doesn't help you if you're Scecina. Another 5-yard penalty. And if they do amass those, at the end of the day, it's not going to kill you, those little 5 yards, but it can really mess with your mind a little bit if you're out there.
Yeah, and for a team that, they've gone in the air twice now on this first drive and made the most out of that first pass. But for a team that ran the ball a lot last week, you don't want to get in these 2nd and 15s and then 3rd and 12s where you do have to go to the air, because that's when mistakes start to happen, an overthrow here or deflection here, and next thing you know, it's a pick 6 for Speedway. So from midfield here, we'll see what Scecina can do on a 2nd down and 15.
Strong eye, man in motion. This will be a handoff. Out the gut. Got some space, and he'll be hit hard. On the ground, that was Brandon Fitz-Ramsey. And as he goes down after the great hit by Jazz Coleman, that was a great run to get yourself more breathing room. Now it's a 3rd and 3 opportunity for Scecina.
Yeah, nice little 12-yard rush there. Make it about a 3rd and 3. I think you're in 4-down territory here at the 38-yard line. I almost guarantee you Scecina doesn't have a kicker that can bury a 53-yarder here. So get a couple chunk yards here, maybe pick up that 1st down. Before you got 2 plays to pick up 3 yards here if you're Scecina to continue the drive.
Mendez handing off again to Fitz-Ramsey. He's wrapped up. Did he get to the 1st down line? I think he may be short.
I think he is just short. They're going to mark it 4th down.
1 yard away.
And we'll see what they do here. Speedway is probably thinking they are going to come right at us on the ground. And this is that first momentum-shifting play of the game. Yeah, we saw that 3rd down go for a 1st down on the quick ball. Right here, can Speedway get that stop on 4th and 1 to get themselves off the field?
Mendez is going to keep it himself, bowling over a defender to get past the 1st down line and give the Crusaders another set of downs.
Great push there by Tybo to push his quarterback over the line of scrimmage to get that 1st down, move those chains, and now you can set your offense back up, right? You got yourself in a little bit of a jam here early in the sequence by having that 3rd and long. You get the pass. You've now overcame 2 penalties this drive to continue to move those chains. You're inside the 34-yard line here. Patience, patience, patience. Don't get away from the game plan of running the football.
McClellan in the backfield. He will get the handoff, and he'll be wrapped up immediately. Initial hit there by Carmel Perry, one of the captains of this Sparkplug squad.
Yeah, and it looks like Speedway saying, hey, we'll give you the edge. If you can beat us to the edge, you go for it. But if you try to come up the gut on us, we're not going to give up more than 1 or 2 yards each time. And so far, besides that one rush that we saw, the chunk play of about 11 to 12 yards on 2nd down, Speedway's done a really good job here of kind of eliminating that run that Scecina has shown in the first 2 weeks that they're going to go to.
Spread look again, a 2-by-2. Mendez
Wide open.
Hitting the quick hitch out on the outside. That is Tamir Woods, and he's going to make a nice move to get past the first down line or right there and advance the sticks for the Crusaders again.
Yeah, so 2 for 3 so far for Scecina, 36 yards passing. Showing Speedway, yeah, you may saw it last week on the tape. We didn't throw the football, but when we need to, we can. Wide open wide receiver right there in Woods, hauls it in, spins past the first down marker, and moves the chain. So Scecina has a really nice drive going here, but what happened the last 2 first downs? All of a sudden, it was a quick penalty, and they're back trying to gain yards that were taken away from them. So got to be disciplined here and no penalties.
Trips to the short side of the field. Mendez dropping back. He's going to loft one deep to the end zone. Woods had a fingertip on it, but there's a flag down.
Might be offensive pass interference. We'll see how they call it. There was a lot of contact. The contact that I saw came from Woods of Scecina, but that doesn't mean there wasn't some dicing for position before that. A second later, he had a guy right down the seams for a wide open touchdown there, but we'll see what the call is here on the field as we take a look at the replay.
You see Woods get some separation
working
there against Charles Mitchell.
I would be surprised if this wasn't offensive. He kind of pushed down, and it was offensive pass interference there. He pushed down on the receiver to gain leverage. Great call there by the officiating crew right on top of it. And right on cue, another penalty, the third one of this drive for Scecina, and this is a big one because this is going to take you back to about the 39-yard line. And, you know, when you go to the air like that, you're not used to it. You know, a guy like Tamir Woods who just had a catch, right? He's going, I'm going to go up and get another one, make a play. He didn't mean it, but he tried to get some separation to haul in that pass. But unfortunately, moved those chains back to the 39-yard line and a first down and 20.
I formation. First down and forever. Mendez going to pitch out to Fitz Ramsey, excuse me.
And great tackling there. I think the game plan here for Speedway is once Fitz Ramsey gets the ball, as we've seen, he can keep those legs churning, and he's quick. Get on him, get him down to the ground. Don't let him get those extra yards and keep those legs moving. Get him down because he will beat you by breaking tackles. One-on-one coverage here, top of your screen. We'll see if they look to go to that. They'll continue to run the ball.
Yeah, McClellan once again. Initial hit there by Isaac Graber and Carmel Perry finishing him off. But, you know, third now in 17, 16, I have to think that you have to go to the air here.
Yeah, and Mendez, junior quarterback, right, didn't get a lot of experience last year. May want to look at that next time and say, they're lining up for the run. I've got a guy in one-on-one coverage. That's Woods. That's my tall, fast wide receiver. Maybe call an audible there and say, hey, let's run streaks down the sideline. It's a one-on-one. I'm going to trust my guy to go up and get it. So things that you'll continue to learn that may not be in the arsenal here in week 2.
Mendez has trips to his right. He's got pressure. Scrambles to his right. Lets one rip to the end zone.
Oh,
it's caught! Mason Berrialt! What a catch in the end zone for the Crusaders!
And a great play there by Mendez to scramble out of the sack, fire it downfield. Looked like he had 2 wide receivers that could have possibly got it. And a great Berrialt haul in for the touchdown, and Scecina strikes first. Wow, what a play there.
They were really making it hard on themselves, but Scecina finds the end zone.
That's the old playground play, right? Like it's 4th and a mile, and you know, they're coming at you, and you just throw the Hail Mary as deep as you can, and this time it was answered. So the first touchdown of the game here goes to Scecina on a 39-yard touchdown pass with 6:05 left here in the first quarter.
On to kick.
Look good.
Could have brought rain, but it is through. Carter Nolan with 6 minutes left in our first quarter. Scecina, after a 14-play drive, takes it all the way into the end zone, and they lead 7-0. We'll be right back on IndianaSRN. Scecina leads 7-0 with 6 minutes left to go here in the first after a 14-play drive that amassed 69 yards. Started on the 31, and after a few penalties, 3 penalties on that drive, one that brought them all the way back from the 25 to the 40. And Mason Berrialt, off a scramble by Mendez, hauls one in for a huge touchdown.
Yeah, and if you're on the sidelines for Scecina, and you're Coach Hurl, you're going, look, yeah, we got that touchdown, but we kind of shot ourselves in the foot. We have a fumble here on the return.
Briefly muffed by McPherson. Not the way he wanted to start, but I have a feeling that he's going to make up for it later. And let's see that touchdown again by Scecina.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we called this jailbreak, right? Like the entire pocket collapses here. You got to scramble across the body throw, heaves it. You got 2 wide receivers against 3 defenders, and then Berrialt just kind of sneaks right in there to haul in that touchdown pass. So, yeah, completions of 26, 10, and 39 yards there on that opening drive. But like you said, overcame those penalties for the score to go up 7-0. And now this is the first time all year, yes, it's only game 2, that Speedways came onto the field while trailing. So we'll see what they can do in reaction to that Scecina touchdown.
This is a handoff to McPherson, the beast on this offensive side of the ball for Speedway. Last week he had 6 carries for 70 yards. That's 11.5 yards per carry. His longest was 27. He had 1 touchdown on the ground, 1 through the air. And he is just a menace. This kid is getting recruited all over the place. We have some fun stories to share from Coach Clampett about the growth of this kid and how much of a respectful kid he is, not only in the locker room, but also how respected he is as well in the community.
And watch for, Bambo's the guy right there in a slot. Oh, fumble on the snap here.
Early woes here for Speedway. That's Carter Watson behind center. He had a great game last week, one of the best passing performances in the state, as a matter of fact. 18 of 24, 291 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, 75% completion percentage, and no picks either. He's the man behind center, and he knows how to lead this team. But right away, you see a couple hiccups here for Speedway. Let's see if they can turn that around.
Yeah, you keep putting the football on the turf. Doesn't matter if it's the NFL or Pop Warner. You keep putting that football on the turf, and the opposition is going to get it one of these days. Quick little pass here.
Watson's going to scramble around. He's going to be sacked. A lot of pressure by Scecina. And that initial hit implemented by Calvin Connors, and he's one of the leaders, one of the captains of this Scecina team, and an early 3-and-out for Speedway. We didn't expect to see that right away.
Yeah, and it looked like on that play the pocket just collapsed, and he couldn't look downfield to find anybody. Smart there to kind of just tuck it, not try to get too much out of nothing there. 4th and 11 here. Scecina kind of letting everybody know here early, we're going to take control of this football game. We'll see what happens on this punt. I mean, you're punting from the 10-yard line, so it looks like Scecina's going to get some really good field position here, unless Speedway here, number 26, Caleb Bennett, can get off a boomer.
And
almost blocked.
Just before the 50-yard line, so it's going to be great field position for the Crusaders once again when they return onto the field. Let's take a minute to hear from one of our sponsors, Telemetry Sports. For more than 6 years, Telemetry Sports has been working with the NFL and multiple college football teams as a data and tech provider. Player speeds and accelerations that they're providing us generated using computer vision, the same technology as autonomous vehicles. As you watch these players, keep in mind that over 18 miles an hour is very fast and impressive for a high school and college athlete. I think I know who wrote that one.
Yeah, I wasn't 18. I wasn't running 18 up and down the basketball court.
18 is remarkably fast. The fastest one I think ever recorded, even on a treadmill, was like 23, maybe.
Quarterback keeper here.
Yep, David Mendez keeping this one. Try to throw the stiff arm. He'll gain about 6 or 7 yards. Look like 6 yards. David Mendez is a player that loves to run the football. He has done very well over his career doing so.
Yeah, and a great read there, right? He knew if he hands his football off, it's probably going to be a loss of 2 or 3. Keeps it, spins out of some trouble, gets positive yards there, and we're looking at about a 2nd down and 4 here. And we talked about momentum and field position. Right now it's been all Scecina here throughout this first quarter with just over 3 minutes to go.
Mendez Over the middle, trying to find Barrialt once again. Had some tight coverage there by Speedway.
Yeah, and he had Tybo coming across there in the slot if he would have just waited and held on to that football a second longer. So 3rd down and 4 here. I think you're still in 4-down territory. If you don't get it here, it's more than likely going to be a 3rd down and short if you don't get it. Now, if you do lose yards here, maybe you decide, okay, we're going to punt it and pin them deep instead of giving them field position right around the 45. So interesting play call here. You've got 2 chances to pick up 4.5 yards.
Trips to his right. Mendez is going to hand this one off again to Fitz Ramsey, but he's swallowed behind the line of scrimmage. A great job by the Speedway defense.
Yeah, and you're marked at about the 45-yard line. I think you punt the football here. If you lost yards on that play, you're going to punt it. If you gain maybe 1 or 2, you go for it. But you could try to flip that field position. And kudos to Speedway's defense, right? They are on the field for a very long drive that winds up in a touchdown. It's easy to get down on yourself. Oh, get up off the bench because you got to go back out. Our offense went three and out. So a little bobble of a snap here. But a nice punt. We'll see if Speedway can do anything with it.
McPherson back deep. He's going to get it around the 14-yard line. He'll get about a 6-yard return, and Speedway will resume their offensive possession. So a great response by the Speedway defense after going 3 and out on offense.
Yeah, and now you come on with 2:23 left here in the quarter. 7-0, you're down. You didn't have the greatest of possessions there on that opening drive. But no need to panic, right? You stay inside of your playbook and say, all right, this didn't work on that first drive, but let's keep to running the football, and then when we need to pass it, pass it. But you got to step up if you're the offensive line. We saw a lot of Scecina jerseys in the backfield during that opening possession for Speedway.
Coach Clampett talked about how this team is going to face adversity this year. Scecina is their first big test of adversity. Here's Carter Watson keeping it himself off the inverted veer, and he'll get about 3 yards on that gain.
Yeah, look, I'm not a high school football coach, right? If I was, I would try to keep the football out of my quarterback's hands early in a football game, early in the season on running plays, right? Just because last week he didn't play all 4 quarters, right? Because it was a blowout of a football game. So I think you're living a little bit dangerously with those quarterback keepers, but sometimes the reads, as we know, makes you keep that football. So we'll see if the strategy stays that way or if they try to keep those quarterback runs out of his hands. Nice play there, quickly in the backfield. Are they going to call it a fumble?
They are going to call that incomplete. It was forward. McPherson was at least in front of Carter Watson at least a little bit, so now it'll be 3rd and 7, but it was a great deflection there by
Jalen Long, man.
Jalen
right in
Long.
that backfield. He read it the whole way. That's one of those where his eyes were lit up thinking pick 6. He was going straight to the end zone. But get those paws out there if you can't make the interception and bat it down. So a 3rd down here for Speedway. Late in the first quarter, this offense has been stagnant to say the least here in the opening quarter.
Likely a passing scenario here for the Sparkplugs. Watson over the middle. It's going to be deflected and incomplete. His intended receiver, Zach Warham.
You go to the first read there, looking for a quick play, a little bit more patience, set your feet, maybe try that second read. The second and third reads looked like they were open. Obviously, he wanted to go to Warren, who's one of his top receivers as a senior. That didn't work. And, again, another quick punt here. Handle the ball first and foremost and try to get this ball in the air. The last punt kind of skipped a few times and it ended up at the 49-yard line. So pretty much the exact same position as his last punt. This one has a lot more hang time on it, and we'll see if it gets downfield a little bit more.
Cale Bennett just gets past midfield. Good.
Take it and go.
Spark
Take it and
plug
go.
Bounce.
Oh, I would have.
Mason Barrialt was flirting there with picking up that ball and letting it fly.
So Scecina will take over the 48.
Yep.
About a minute 40 to go here in the quarter. No sense of urgency, no rush. Speedway hasn't shown you much on the offensive side of the football. So I think if you're Scecina here, you want to keep the football on the ground and keep grinding away at that Speedway defense.
1:20 to go here in our first quarter. This has flown by after that long Scecina drive with a ton of runs. And then Speedway going back and forth with 2 3-and-out possessions. This has been a game that has been fast. And we expected a lot of high scoring. So far, the defenses have showed out for each side after that first drive.
So I like this play here.
Swing pass out to the right side. That is going to be complete to Brandon Keene. And he'll be dropped just for a 1-yard gain. Good wrap up in pursuit by the Speedway defense.
Yeah, only a 1-yard gain, but they showed run the entire way. Quick change. If you got something downfield, go with it. If not, the safety blanket's right there, and you make one of your best running backs make some plays. Now, he only gets 1 yard there, but a broken tackle on one of those plays could be a bigger gain. So I did like that play call there on the first down by Scecina.
Trips to Mendez's left. One in the backfield. He'll roll out to his left. Has to step up in the pocket, launch it deep to Woods.
Oh.
And he just misses the catch.
What a throw. Under pressure. You almost had to throw that across your body. You got a chance to get your feet set. You see your man downfield. He put it right on the money there, and it just went right through Woods' hands with about 35 seconds left here, 3rd and 9 coming up. But you really couldn't have thrown a better ball from about 55 yards or from about 55 yards out. If you see this here, he does a great job, does Mendez, to step up, put his whole body into it, and Woods has him by a step or two, and I think he just misread it, didn't have his body turn where he needed it to. So a missed opportunity there for Scecina.
3rd and 9 here for Scecina. This is going to be a penalty flag, and possibly another false start.
Yeah, I think there was movement there in the backfield by Fitz Ramsey. So the 4th penalty here.
3rd and 14 here facing the Crusaders.
Yeah, and I think, with right around a minute left in this quarter, you have plenty of time here. But a 3rd and 14, you're going to have to go back to the air. So if I'm Speedway, I'm going to drop about probably 6 to 7 in coverage, maybe only keep 4 on that line. Know where the sticks are here if you're Speedway. Know where the sticks are and keep that football in front of those sticks.
No reason to apply a bunch of true pressure here if you're Speedway. Nothing behind you. Here's Mendez. He's going to give it up the middle to Fitz Ramsey, who makes a nice juke move on the outside, but he'll be tackled hard down by Marvin Germany at around the 47-yard line. This will not be enough for a first down to leave with about a 4th and 7.
Yeah, and a nice play there.
6, excuse me.
You kind of wait and wait and wait, but it looks like this should take us to the end of the quarter. So a 4th and 6. Scecina has a decision to make here, right? Because you've been able to convert and move those chains when needed, but 4th and 6 here, a bit risky. We'll see what they do as we've hit the end of the quarter.
The end of the first quarter is upon us. Scecina leads 7-0, and they face a 4th and 5 when they come back here in IndianaSRN.
There's a hole.
Needing to hire someone to take care of your loved one when you're away? Maybe your family member just needs someone to talk to when you're not around. Why not contact Indiana licensed Serenity Care Services? Call Angela, owner of Serenity Care Services, at 317-900-6202. Our team of trained and experienced personal care providers are licensed to serve seniors requiring companion care and light housekeeping services in Indianapolis and its 5 surrounding counties. Call us today at 317-900-6202. Now hiring qualified applicants.
Welcome back here on IndianaSRN, where Scecina leads 7-0. I'm Joey Lindstrom alongside my broadcast partner, Tony Donahue. Serenity Home Care Services is an Indiana-licensed personal agency and Medicaid waiver service provider in central Indiana. We're a friendly, competent, experienced team of caregivers that you've been seeking. Contact us today at serenitycareservices.net. 4th and 5 is what faces Scecina. They are getting ready to punt, and I believe wisely as well, if you are the Crusaders and not Hurley.
If I'm Speedway, I would have brought the house there and not sent anybody back. You're not going to return this punt. You just kind of take it where it ends up. If he pins you inside of the 20, he pins you inside of the 20, which they're going to pin him right there at about the 14-yard line. So a great punt there. But if I was Speedway, I probably would have brought the house there, right? More than likely, you're not going to return this punt. It gets such a short field right there. But again, we'll see what Speedway can do. So far, first 2 possessions, not very good. Maybe switch some things up. Don't kick yourself but you got to get back out there. Down 7-0. don't abandon the running game, but let's see if you can get something going because now your backs are against the wall. This is as deep you've been in the opponent's territory so far tonight.
Might be a good idea to ride the coattails of DJ McPherson. He's such a dynamic playmaker. You never know what can happen when he gets the ball. Carter Watson will have him behind in the pistol formation. He'll hand off to McPherson. Makes one man miss, but it gets tripped up at the line of scrimmage for only a gain of 1.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time, as you mentioned. I mean, this is their playmaker. McPherson's the guy that they're going to go to often, and we saw it there. He broke 2 tackles before he got back to the line of scrimmage. It's only a matter of time before he breaks one of these. But right now, Scecina's defense is fresh. They've gotten off the field twice already on 3rd down, and now a 2nd down and 9. You need to get yards here if you're Speedway because you don't want to set up another 3rd and long.
Watson with 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. He'll fake the handoff to McPherson and throw a ball low at the feet of Zach Warham. Not an ideal place for that pass to go, and I don't think it were exactly where Carter Watson intended. There just seems to be a little bit of confusion on this Speedway Sparkplug squad, and I think that's what Coach Shane Clampett was trying to emphasize to his guys. Look, it's the fundamentals. You cannot screw up the basics when you're playing a team like Scecina.
Yeah, and you mentioned confusion there. You had one wide receiver in Warham who did have a little bit of a space there, kind of cut one way. His teammate was zooming by him, and I think he probably heard those footsteps. So now another 3rd down and long for Speedway.
Watson throwing deep, laying it out, and it is going to be incomplete. Intended receiver was Landon Short, a guy that they need to get going. He had 71 yards receiving last week. He was almost going to get all that and some more if he caught that one.
Man, a step is all you need. And sometimes the timing that you work on all summer in 2-a-days and practice, sometimes that timing's there. Then you get onto a field, and that defense is a little bit quicker than what you're used to this summer, and the timing just becomes a step or 2 off. But I think Scecina dodged one there. Because Speedway would have been to the house to tie this football game up on a long touchdown play. But nonetheless, they're off the field. Need to have a good snap here. A low snap, the Saints going to get blocked, and Scecina's going to take it in. A high snap, it's going to go over his head for a safety. So got to be very careful here. I would almost bring my punter up, maybe a step or 2, and maybe sacrifice some of that timing to make sure you get the kick off.
You've had 2 gunners already pretty close. This one is another high punt, and it's going to be fair caught at the 46-yard line. A few score updates for you. Bishop Chatard is leading Arsenal Tech 14-0 in the first quarter. Covenant Christian is leading Traders Point 15-7. Chatard actually just scored as we speak, 20-0 so far. And then you also have Hamilton Southeastern leading North Central 7-0 as well, just like our game.
Yeah, a lot of good games throughout the area, throughout the state of Indiana going on right now. Obviously, Carmel and Center Grove is going to be the one. We got a lot of games throughout our network here on IndianaSRN, as we will next week. But here we go. Scecina right back at midfield to start a possession. Don't get any penalties. Keep gaining those positive yards, as we see here right away on 1st down for a gain of about 6 or 7.
Fitz Ramsey is going to get 6 on this one, and he is a player that they love giving the ball to. He's tall. He's one of the taller backs that you'll see in high school football. But, man, is he quick, and he can follow his blockers very well. He's one of those players that facilitates the way that his offense will go because of his different set of skills.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that you don't outrun those blocks in front of you, which is sometimes hard to do. The advantage here, as we are a little bit into the second quarter, 110 total yards for Scecina, only 13 total yards for Speedway. So Scecina is clearly controlling this football game. Time of possession is way in favor of Scecina, and we'll see if they can keep driving us. But a great play here on a 2nd down and 4 to set up a 3rd down coming up once again for Scecina.
Third down and 5 will meet the Crusaders. There's a great stop up front there by the Speedway defense. Included in there was Jonathan Edmond as well as Marvin Germany making plays. And that D-line, you talk about a good set of coaches. Evan James for Speedway has done a great job with this defense, even going back to last year, to amass a 9-3 record against some very good teams when they were in 2A. That is a testament to the way that these guys are coached, that they're able to make plays like that, as we see now 3rd and 5 here for Scecina.
And watch quick slants here.
Mendez dropping back.
Looks.
out to the right side. Barriall had it in his fingertips and dropped it. So it's going to be 4th down again for Scecina.
I think you punt it here. 3rd down, again, this is the second straight possession where you haven't gained yards on that 3rd down, or maybe you start thinking about 2-down territory. Execution, the play was great right there. The route was ran perfectly. If you haul that in, you're going to make one turn down the sideline to get that 1st down, but just slightly overthrown, and we'll see if they do decide to punt it here.
That appears to be the decision here, Tony, and I think what you can attest to a lot of the Speedway defense that we're seeing so far.
Oh, straight up in the air, straight up the elevator shaft.
Definitely shanked a little bit. Oh, well,
get out of the way for Speedway.
Need to get out of the way. This is possibly, it looked like it didn't hit anybody, but it was possible. Barriall picks it up at
3-yard punt.
The 34-yard line, and that is where Speedway will set up best field position of the day so far for the Spark Plugs. Let's see if that makes a little bit of a difference for them to start out here. Maybe they get a little more comfortable with some more breathing room.
Yeah, 3-yard punts are never good. Maybe just miss that one straight up in the air. And what I'm seeing here is some players starting to show, especially if you're a two-way player like Tamir Woods, you see. I mean, he hasn't came off the football field throughout most of this game. So we'll see. It looks like if he can get in the backfield, you know he's got some energy. But watch on the line here for Scecina if there's any kind of a push.
Fake jet sweep. This is going to be a boot out to the right by Watson. He'll hit in the flat. Jazz Coleman tried to make a move, and he's wrapped up after a 3-yard gain.
You know, you would say 3 yards, meh, but it's been hard for Speedway to gain yards throughout this entire game, let alone on 1st down. So you'll take a 2nd down and 7. I would say keep the ball on the ground here, try to cut that in half, and go for it around 3rd and 3. And maybe you break one here. Maybe you can break it for the 1st down, but we haven't seen that so far out of Speedway's offense.
Carter Watson had a magnificent game last week, 4 touchdowns through the air, but so far Speedway has been stymied. This is a handoff to McPherson. If you can get him in space, you're in business. He'll gain about 4 more, and this will be a 3rd down and 2.
I like the play call there by Johnny West. You take McPherson about a step or 2 back to where he usually would be. Therefore, he gets that running jump, and the timing was there. Picks up a few yards, and now a 3rd down and 2. I'm not risking putting the football in the air here. I'm going to keep it on the ground, and I'm going to go right back to my horse and say, look, you've got us here. You played well last week. We're going to ride you all season. Here's where it starts. 3rd down and 2. Go get me those 2 yards.
Hand off here to DJ McPherson. He gets hit initially, and he's actually going to be short of the 1st down line. A great initial hit up front to plug that hole. Who was that there? Brady Ray, 51. No, 51, excuse me. That was Adam Young, one of the impact players here for Scecina. When Out Hurley talked to both of us, he said Adam Young is one of those guys that he's so strong, and he uses his strength to the best of his ability. But now we have a 4th and 1 attempt here for Speedway.
Let's see if they try to get him to jump.
It's going to be a
quarterback
sneak.
Keeper did not get it. No way he got that.
Are they going to give him the nod, though, on the reach, Tony?
It looked like his initial progress was stopped well before the 1st down marker. But then again, he had that second push that maybe got him across the sticks. I think he's short. Scecina thinks he's short. But Speedway says, nope, move those chains. So a great conversion there on 4th down. They may have gotten the benefit of a call, but nonetheless, those chains are moving. It's the first down of the night for Speedway. You have to keep this momentum going.
Is that something that really can open the floodgates for Speedway? The question remains. Now they have something to build on. McPherson and Watson in the backfield, 3 receivers to Watson's left.
I'm throwing it here. On 1st down, you got a little bit of momentum going your way. I'm going to throw the football and look for Cook.
Scecina showing cover 3. Watson stepping up, trying to scramble to be brought down on the sack by number 83, Jalen Long.
And Jalen Long is a guy, this is the second time we mentioned his name. He's been wreaking havoc in the backfield. You remember early in the 1st quarter, he batted that football down on the screen play. Here, gets into the backfield. He's quick. Grabs him, throws him down before he could throw the football downfield. So I do like the play call there. The pocket indeed collapsed for him, unfortunately, and it's going to be a 2nd down and about 11 to 12 yards here after the sack.
Both pairs of receivers stacked on the outside. Watson's going to give it to McPherson again. He bowls over one defender, but he holds on tight, and he'll be dropped for little to no gain at all. And that's going to bring up 3rd down and 9, Tony. Another spot that Speedway finds themselves in with not a lot of luck.
Yeah, quick substitution here. Get a fresh body in on that line if you're Scecina. And say, look, they're probably going to throw the football here. Let's only put 3 or 4 on the line. You might even see somebody like Long here, 83, either come on the edge or maybe even drop back and make sure that the running back in the backfield doesn't get out into spaces for the quick screen. But, again, another 3rd down and long here for Speedway.
5:45 remaining on the clock in our first half. Watson hitting the drag route underneath for a very minimal gain, getting it to Christian Cook for a total of 3 yards.
And look, I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. We are not at the football game. We are in a studio. But it looks to me, and when you're going towards the left to the right, that sun is directly in the quarterback's eyes. We saw a little bit of it with Scecina when they got around here. They kind of stumbled throwing the football, and we saw it there. It just almost looks like, right around that 30, that 43, 44-yard line in that area, the sun is right in your face. And you can see the punter right now holding up his hand. So we'll see if the sun wreaks havoc here on this punt with the long snap coming up.
This is going to be pivotal here for Cale Bennett. High punt once again, but it looks like this one got the best distance of them all to be down at the 20, equivalent to a touchback. And Scecina will begin their next possession. So a little bit better there for Speedway. You get a little bit more seasoned. Now you feel like you can ease back into the game. You're getting close here to the end of the first half. What do you need to do to establish a little bit of that dominance you had last week?
Well, like you mentioned, I think what's most important here is Speedway's defense got a little bit of a break there. It felt like the entire first quarter they were on the football field. Now maybe they're a little bit more refreshed. They know what's coming. They could put some pressure on Mendez and hopefully get off the field because, look, you're at about 5 minutes left here in this first half. You don't want to let Scecina go on a 4 to 4.5 minute drive and that into the score because next thing you know, you're going to the locker room down 14-0.
Fitz Ramsey's going to take this one, try to throw a stiff arm. He'll gain about 5 yards before being pushed out of bounds. You make a good point, too. That Speedway defense, a lot of one-way players on the defensive side. There's only 4 two-way players that consistently rotate on that defensive side of the ball, so they do have the depth that maybe they needed to, if they have that offensive possession last a little bit longer than they have before, that is very helpful for your defense.
Yeah, and you're talking about a team that last week, the offense put up a lot of points. They did their thing with the shutout, and all of a sudden they find themselves down. Can you stop the run, and can you stop those long chunk plays as Scecina's been able to get when they need it? It's almost like every time Scecina gets a gain of 7 or 8 yards, it's when they need it most, which is a 2nd and long or a 3rd and long. But so far here in the second quarter, Scecina's done a good job on their first 2 possessions to not have any flags on the play, which we saw a lot in that first quarter. And will be interesting to see how they play this here on 3rd down and 2 with the clock running down here in the second quarter with about 4:15 left.
3rd and 2 for Scecina, lining up an I formation.
Smash mouth football.
Yeah, it is. They're just going to have a QB sneak, and Mendez is going to take it across that first down marker.
You don't want to have too much of a sense of urgency here as the clock ticks under 4 minutes.
4-minute offense.
But you also need to get up. Let's get to the line of scrimmage. Let's get that play call in because 7-0, the mentality of Speedway going into halftime is we're still in this football game. We can get it right back. We're going to get the football in the second half coming out. 14-0 going in the locker room. It's, oh, no. There is a huge presence on this first possession, and Speedway just simply hasn't been able to move the football here in the first half.
Scecina now from the 32-yard line. Rolling out to his left is Mendez. Getting some pressure. He decides to keep it. Makes him huge face mask.
Wow.
By Carmel Perry.
Welcome to high school football. That's probably the biggest hit he's taken this year so far and will be the biggest hit he's taken throughout the year. I mean, that was as blatantly obvious as possible. Will be interesting to see, although there is a flag on the play. He might have to sit on the sidelines here for one play. We'll see the ruling. Sometimes when there's a flag on a face mask, they don't actually make him do that. But it depends on the referee's discretion. But that was a very, very tough hit.
Yeah. He didn't exactly get low enough. Yeah. The only case I'll make right now for Perry, he didn't get low enough to wrap around the shoulder. His arm went straight to his helmet, which was the highest point there on Mendez's body, clearly. And definitely care about player safety at that point.
Yeah.
Whatever the decision is here, whether he has to stay out or whatnot, understandable. But let's take a look at this again.
And it's the quarterback, right? So you're always going to take into consideration that it's the quarterback. A little jab step here. And I think he's trying to make the tackle, and he just simply grabs for something, and it, unfortunately for him, happened to be the face mask. Mendez takes a pretty hard hit, gets right back up after the flag, and with just under 3:30 to go here in the first half, now all of a sudden you got something going. You didn't really gain many yards, but you got it back on the penalty. So into opponent's territory for the second time goes Scecina.
Play action.
Ooh.
Mendez over the middle is going to hit his receiver, Barrialt, and that is going to be a 6-yard gain, excuse me.
And for Mendez there, and everybody in the crowd's going, oh, what a great pitch and catch there for 6 yards. If Mendez doesn't throw that behind his wide receiver, it's more than likely incomplete or intercepted. I mean, he threw that into double, even triple coverage, but he threw it away from the defender into his opponent's hand. Yeah, and a great little pitch and catch there. So cut that in half, about a 2nd down and 4 here. Maybe we're going to have to see some sense of urgency here to at least get this thing into some kind of field goal range.
He's going to keep it himself, immediately getting some pressure, and he's going to be brought down by Perry right at the line of scrimmage. So a great defensive stop there for Speedway.
So a 3rd and 3 here, under 3 minutes to go. You play this a little bit patient, right, because you don't want it to be a 4th down. But I still think you're in 4-down territory here at the 42-yard line late in the first half. You got to make a statement. This is a Speedway team who has shown they haven't been able to move those chains too much on the offensive end. So you send a message here going into the locker room that we're here to go for it. So looks like some miscommunications here on the Speedway side of defense. And that's going to be enough for first down.
Yeah, Fitz-Ramsey's going to get enough for that first down. 1:50 to go here in the first half. Speedway definitely miscommunicated there.
Yeah.
Somebody's assignment wasn't understood, and you could see that on the screen.
Yeah, and exactly. You just got to make sure, and we got a timeout here. Great time. I'm assuming Speedway took this timeout. Certainly was needed.
As Scecina takes their timeout, get a chance to hear from Tam's Sweet and Savory Cafe. Ooh, a great atmosphere.
Are they making a delivery for us, or what?
I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I was promised. But it's not here yet. Great atmosphere for breakfast or brunch. Oh, that's why. It's too late in the night. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tammy and her staff waiting to serve you and your family. Try the biscuits and gravy or a quiche. Coach recommends the BLT. Of course he does. Tam's located at 6427 Oaklandon Road in Indy. And we're also brought to you by IHSAA officials. Participation in high school athletics does not have to end with high school graduation. Even if you've been away from the game for a while, you can get back in the game by becoming a licensed official in any of the 20 sports sanctioned by the Indiana High School Athletic Association. Contact the IHSAA office at ihsaa.org. Out of the timeout. 1:45 to go here in our first half. We thank you so much for being with us. Joey Lindstrom alongside Tony Donahue. It's been a fun one so far. Defensive battle to boot after Scecina's initial drive with a 39-yard scramble bomb to the end zone from Mendez to Barrialt. It has been scoreless for the rest of it, and just a couple fierce defenses so far. They both pitched shutouts last week, so it makes sense. This one is a handoff to Fitz-Ramsey. He's got some room. Got another step. Fumbling the ball out of bounds.
He fumbled that into the end zone. Is that going to be called a touchback, or is he going to mark him down at the 2-yard line?
I think they're going to say his foot was out at the 2.
And it looked like he went to stop to miss it. I mean, it was an awkward-looking – I'm glad he got up because it was awkward-looking going down.
Very
They're going to talk about this. I thought from the initial play that he fumbled that thing into the end zone, which would lead to a touchback, and that is exactly what they're going to call. He fumbles it forward. It is a touchback.
Wow.
Speedway takes over the ball at the 20-yard line. My goodness, Joey, what an incredible turn. Let's call it what it is. That's pretty dang lucky.
Yeah.
He's at least going to be marked down at the 2-yard line, but he fumbles the football, And we'll take a look at the replay here.
Got to be able to see this one again. And look at – so he makes a great move to get to the outside.
The speed.
Wonderful blocking. Woods throws a nice block. But watch this. Right there,
Yep.
I think he thought his foot was out, but the ref –
That's a great call.
Sideline judge, it was a great call. That is a touchback. They're responding the ball.
Yep.
Whenever you fumble it out of bounds, man, it does pay to hold on to that football. And maybe was he trying to switch hands?
Here's where you need to switch hands because you know the defender's
Right.
coming to your right side. He doesn't do that, and he loses his legs, and I think it just
Oh, yeah. I think
he
some of
went
his
down,
teammates-
and when he came back up,
Yep.
there was so much momentum from his body going up that the ball popped out. And unfortunately for Scecina and lucky for Speedway, it goes into the end zone. You got about a minute here to do something. But, wow, I mean, we were just talking about it. Going in 14-0 is one thing. Now you're at least going to go in 7-0 if you're Speedway and you get the football. That's an incredible turn of events there in favor of the Speedway Spark Plugs.
Watson and company will start from the 20. Is this exactly what they needed to spark their offense? It's going to be a 1st down and 10 pass, complete for no gain, and they're not going to take a timeout.
Man, I don't mind the play call. It just didn't work out. Looks like they're a little bit confused here on what to do. Got plenty of time here with 1:18 to go. You're looking in the sun, though. However, you don't –
Watson's going to throw that hitch route to the outside, and immediately we find ourselves at a 3rd and 10.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's an incomplete pass, but fortunately for Speedway, the clock stops. There doesn't need to be a sense of urgency here. It is 3rd down. It's a tough situation for Speedway here, right? Because you haven't been able to move the chains, and you don't want to punt it from where you are because you know Scecina is going to bring the house knowing that there's not much time left in that first half. They want to get the football back and possibly score again like they should have there at the 2-yard line. But we'll see what the play call is here. I wouldn't mind a quick screen and then have a bunch of blockers downfield.
He's going to throw it deep. It's going to be caught.
Wow.
Right before midfield, a great catch by Tyrese Johnson, and a timeout will be called by Speedway.
Let's see if they do. You almost
Maybe
have
not.
to here.
Yeah, no, it looks like they're just going to go straight to no huddle.
You can't take them with you. Again, they're a nice route, kind of a Hail Mary type pass, but Johnson hauls it in and completes the catch throughout the contact. So the biggest play there so far by Speedway gets them into Scecina's territory for the first time.
Jazz Coleman takes that handoff up the middle. This is going to be a timeout by Speedway after the huge gain amassed. That was 33 yards through the air.
And more importantly, when you needed it, your first completion of the first half for 33 yards, you move those chains. So that momentum that Scecina grabbed there early, it's now starting to shuffle over to – or excuse me, that Scecina grabbed early, now starting to shuffle over to the Speedway sideline.
Let's see what they do. Coming out of the break here in Indiana SRN. We'll be right back.
Bertner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Welcome back to Scecina and Speedway at Beech Grove High School. If you're just joining us before this half, Speedway has been stalling, to say the least, in the beginning, throughout the beginning of this game, but now they've just hit a huge pass through the air and just had another good rush gain. This is 2nd down and 5. Watson
wide open
over the middle. He's finding Landon Short, who's got some room and gets out of bounds at around the 22-yard line, and a flag penalty and a penalty flag after the play. McPherson's helmet is off, and I think someone was getting chippy. I don't know from which side. I didn't see it.
It looked like an illegal hands to the face on the defensive side, but I know there was some grabbing going on. And, again, sometimes it's not the first guy who gets caught. Sometimes it's the second guy who gets caught. So if you're Speedway, you're hoping that this is on Scecina. You go ahead and you say, hey, we're gonna decline this. But, yeah, maybe the Speedway just needs to shift to that 2-minute offense at all times because nothing worked for them through that first quarter and a half. But all of a sudden, after the fumble into the end zone gives them the ball back on the 20, they've been able to drive down with big chunk plays of 33 and 25 yards and finally finding some momentum here with not too much time to go in the first half. Personal foul on Speedway. And personal foul, I was going to say, it looked like they were both getting chippy.
So they're both offset there.
Yep, so offsetting penalties. Should replay the down, but they are marking it at the 22-yard line. So
I think with the offset, the gain still stands.
Yeah.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 there from the 22. And with Speedway in this position, this could be their opportunity to tie it up before half.
If I'm Scecina here, I'm probably going for a timeout real quick. I would go for a timeout and say, hey, let's reset.
Regroup, yeah.
Let's reset. The nerves are probably there for the first time Speedway's been deep. Let's all get on the same page here with not too much time left in the first half.
Replay that for last play then.
Yeah, replay here of that last big play. You see the middle of your screen is where you'll see some of that extracurricular activity. But a great read there, wide open. Nice hop there. Big block. And then they just got chippy. It looked like Scecina probably a little bit upset on that block, but whenever you see a guy downfield and you're Calvin Connor at 5'11", 195 pounds, you're looking to run over somebody.
And this will be another timeout for Scecina as Coach Hurley regroups, and we'll regroup after this break from IndianaSRN.
Needing to hire someone to take care of your loved one when you're away? Maybe your family member just needs someone to talk to when you're not around. Why not contact Indiana licensed Serenity Care Services? Call Angela, owner of Serenity Care Services, at 317-900-6202. Our team of trained and experienced personal care providers are licensed to serve seniors requiring companion care and light housekeeping services in Indianapolis and its 5 surrounding counties. Call us today at 317-900-6202. Now hiring qualified applicants.
Welcome back. Scecina leads 7-0, but Speedway has found their spark here as they are now at the 22-yard line, ready with 40 seconds to play to try to knot it up here at 7.
Yeah, great time out there by Scecina. You know, you give up 2 big plays on the offensive side of things for Speedway, and we'll see here what happens on a first down. If we can. But again, a great time out there to say, hey, let's just we haven't been here so far tonight. Let's regroup and let's figure out what we need to do here to get this stop before the end of the first half. And we are having some technical difficulties from Peach Grove High School here as we end the end of the first half. But, man, I'm telling you, I mean, this is – we've gotten we'll go on camera here live from our studios at IndianaSRN.
This is the best podcast you'll see all night. So here's the thing. So as we lay out, as we're going to have our producer Matt Stein work with our camera operator Otto St. DeJour, this is an opportunity for Speedway now to tie this game up. Here's the thing. Both these teams shut out their opponents last week. 41-0 was the score for Speedway against Covenant, a good Covenant team, by the way.
Yeah.
And for Scecina, defeating Phelan Leadership Academy 55-0. Both these teams know how to control the offense. They know how to control the game. They have quarterbacks who know not only how to manage it, but also how to lead their guys in the right direction, right? But we've seen a lot of great rushing attack by Scecina so far against the Speedway defense.
Yeah, and I think if you're Speedway here, you're obviously thinking 7. If you do end up attempting a field goal, maybe you get a little bit of momentum. But Scecina has a chance here to get a stop before half to kind of take that momentum back that they lost because, I mean, it's not. It's 7-0, but this very easily should be 14-0 on that long gain. As mentioned, a fumble from the 2-yard line into the end zone is a difference, and we are learning that
Speedway has just
scored from Beech Grove. Again, we're having technical difficulties from Beech Grove High School. We are back here in the IndianaSRN headquarters, so quick score there by Speedway, so a great way to take advantage of that momentum.
Yep.
And Joey, for the first time tonight, we've seen them move the football through the air, and they punch it in for 6 there.
Penalty flag has brought – this is actually great. It's like listen to it on the radio and then us telling you, the viewers at home. A penalty flag has brought that back. While we learn what's going on there, let's share some scores with you. Chittard is leading Arsenal Tech 27-0. Lawrence North and Whiteland are tied at 7 heading into their break. Covenant leads Traders Point 15-13. Hamilton Southeastern leads North Central 17-0. And then Whiteland just scored 14-7 is their count against Lawrence North right before halftime. So misspoke earlier briefly. For us, well, we're learning that Speedway had just scored. They have a penalty flag coming back. I'm trying to hear over Matt's microphone. Third down with 20 seconds to go. If we had some visual, we'd just run a radio broadcast for you.
Yeah, I mean,
but no worries.
You look at Speedway right now, and you just got to be thinking, we punch it in for 7, and it gets brought back, which means they're probably, I'm assuming, somewhere around a 35 or 40-yard line. Two down territory no matter what here. I don't care if you're still in Scecina's territory, you're going for it, whether you're on the 49-yard line or the 35. It doesn't matter this late in the first half. You've got to get points on the board and really take this momentum into the locker room knowing that you're going to get the kickoff to open the second half. So we'll keep you posted on what we hear or maybe even what we see, but they're going to punt it.
We're learning that they're going to punt. So maybe there was another penalty after that. So what seemed like it was going to be a great miracle there for Speedway at the end of the half has turned into certain failure.
FaceTime that dude, and then
FaceTime our guy Otto.
Yeah, just show it to us so we can at least call it radio style and be able to see what's going on, because Otto's doing a great job out there. We do have a camera guy at Beech Grove High School as we battle this game out. But if you can FaceTime him, we could at least be able to see kind of what's going on. But
maybe not numbers, but we could describe, hey, there's yellow in the end zone, there's not.
Yeah.
The couple of previous games from the last couple of years, Scecina defeated Speedway 2 years ago 14-3, and then last year Speedway exacted their revenge 17-14. And so you see those scores and you look at the rest of them, they're differential. Scecina last year had an average point differential of 28 throughout the season last year. But then when they met Speedway, right, they had lost to the Sparkplugs, right, by 3. We're facing a close game again as we go into half. So with that, after this chaos, we're going to go to our halftime break. We will have the game for you, hopefully, when we come back. Thank you so much for being patient with us. I'm Joey Lindstrom. That's Tony Donahue. Matt Stein and Otto St. DeJour are working so hard to get this back up for you live on IndianaSRN, and we will be right back from our halftime show.
Football fans, welcome back to Friday night, to pure spirits, to pure sports. Welcome back to high school football.
Fans, I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back!
This is Friday night. This is Indiana high school football. This is your IHSAA.
When I'm at a Super Bowl and I walk in that stadium at kickoff time and I see that football sitting down there on that field, I get goosebumps because I sewed that football. I am Jane Helser. I recently retired. I started working at Wilson on April 13th, 1966. I was 19 years old. I put an application at Wilson. I got the job, never thinking that I'd be there for 48 years. I enjoyed what I did, so I just stayed.
The Wilson Football Factory here, it's actually like a secret. I was raised about 20 miles from here and never even knew this place was here. We make NFL footballs year-round. We manufactured the ball for every Super Bowl, and every point scored in the NFL since 1941 has been scored with a Wilson football. Jane was the longest tenured employee when she retired.
I would get up at about 3:30 in the morning to be on the job at 5 a.m. I had to oil up my machine every day. I could sew about 150 footballs a day. A football is made from a big piece of leather. It's cut out like a cookie cutter, and that panel is split down to a certain size. They're stamped with a logo, and then there's a lining that's put on it to hold the shape of a ball. When I get the football, it's in 4 panels. There's the top 2 panels. Those 2 are sewed together, leaving the opening. Then I sew the bottom 2 panels together. After the lace holes are punched and the seam are pounded down, then I sew the full section together. The rule of thumb is you don't make a good football sewer until you run a needle through your finger. One time the needle just slid up underneath the foot, stuck in my finger. They put an ice pack on it, took me to the doctor, he cut it out, and I went back to work the rest of the afternoon. I'm tough. The turner gets the nice job of turning it right side out. Then it goes to the lacer, he or she, puts a bladder in it and then laces it. After it goes to the lacer, it's molded. Then the ball is ready to be inspected.
Sewing the football together is probably the most important quality as far as manufacturing. The ball has to have perfect seams, the ends have to line up perfectly, and therefore I think sewing is probably the most critical job in manufacturing the ball. We do not want to change the product in its total, because the most important thing is the integrity of football. So our thing's consistency, make a consistent product that feels the same to the player every time they pick it up.
There's a cold swing. I tell people that I've been to 9 Super Bowls, but I've never been to an Ohio State football game. I've been to Miami twice, Tampa twice, Arizona twice, soon to be the 3rd time, New Orleans, in Indianapolis. I'm just a worker that got a job when I was 19 years old and stayed there and was able to try to do the best job I could. And I've been rewarded greatly for it.
All I ever wanted was to feel loved. He said he loved me. My friends told me it wasn't a big deal. They thought he was so cool, but they didn't know what he wanted me to do.
All I ever wanted was to feel loved. You have no idea the kind of pressure I felt to take things to the next level. Things were moving so fast. I was basically the only person in the freshman class who hadn't done it yet. So we did.
I loved him.
I thought she loved me.
My health class had CPR at school. I stayed after class to talk with the instructor about it. They showed me that it didn't have to be that way.
They showed me that I get to make my own choices.
There is another way.
That's the best thing CPR gives you. Another way. A better way.
A healthy way. Sometimes you don't see it because you're in your own world, but they don't make you feel bad. They talk to you like a real person. and they save kids from really unhealthy decisions. They tell the truth, and they know what they're talking about. So yeah, my life was different. I started to choose the better way.
I honestly don't know where I'd be or what I'd be doing had it not been for CPR.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 21 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to
Welcome back to this presentation of IHSAA football. Scecina leads 7-0 here on IndianaSRN, and after some technical difficulties, we are back for the time being here at Beech Grove High School. Joey Lindstrom alongside Tony Donahue. Well, Tony, we had a very entertaining first half. There seemed to be a lot of expectation, at least from us, when we came into this game, expecting both teams to light it up on the scoreboard, light it up in the passing offense, but both defenses were pretty stout. After that first drive from Scecina when they scored on a 39-yard bomb to Mason Berryald, it seemed like Speedway couldn't get anything going because of good defense. And then after that, Speedway's defense was pretty stout as well.
Yeah, and you really don't know from last week, right? You kind of played, for lack of a better term, down to the competition, right? You usually don't bring in a team in week one that's going to contend to beat you. You go down to the 1 or 2As and you find somebody and say, hey, we'll cover the gas for your bus to come and play us. But, yeah, so, look, Scecina early on kind of overcame some penalties like we saw. Got that kind of what I call the jailbreak play from the old backyard school football days where you kind of just throw it up and hope something happens. Should be up 14-0. I mean, you're on a long run there at the 2-yard line. And that's why you don't give up on a play, right? If you're Speedway, if you're a football player anywhere at any level, that's why you don't give up on a play because he ends up fumbling it into the end zone. Ball goes back to Speedway. They almost punched it in for a touchdown. The penalty brought it back. But look here, just a jailbreak play. Downfield, goes up. Shades of, you guys are too young to remember this, but a guy named Mike Allstott goes up and gets it. And a great touchdown there, which is the difference now.
That was Allstott-esque for sure. I remember I watched old highlights before.
Yeah, but Joe, you look at Speedway and you're going, okay, well, where are we right now? Because when we got into our 2-minute offense late in the first half when we needed to, we got a lot of plays downfield. We had a 33-yard catch, a 25-yard catch, got a couple nice runs. But outside of that possession, Joey, they didn't really do much on the offensive end. I think they get the football here coming out. Friday night lights are on now. The sun has set. It could easily be 14-0. It's not. So if you're Speedway, you're going, hey, you got to be lucky and you got to be good. We've been lucky. Now let's be good, which they were on that last drive, except for that penalty that took away points off the scoreboard.
And they had what would have been a touchdown before it got the penalty, drew it back while we were on our little break there.
Yep.
Speaking of breaks, we're going to take one here and get back to Beech Grove for the second half of Speedway at Scecina. You're watching IHSAA football on IndianaSRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
There we go. Oh, it's still frozen.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Welcome back to Indiana SRN's presentation of Scecina and Speedway. We're still at half, but fighting a couple of technical difficulties. Just wanted to spend a minute, and we'll share some scores from around the state. We just received word Chittard is leading 41-0, and as they face the Titans of Arsenal Tech, and HSE leads 24-0 at a half against North Central. Other scores around, Whiteland still leading Lawrence North 14-7. That just kicked off in the second half, and Covenant leads 22-13 against Traders Point in the right at the edge of the first half, so a bit longer in that game. It feels like at this point, right, with Speedway, we were just talking during the break, Speedway had such a, and I've said it, and I'll say it again, such a spark when they went to that 2-minute drill type of offense, right? They had no urgency prior to that. Do you think you expect more of that out of this third quarter?
Yeah, I think the second half, I mean, you're obviously not out of this game. It's 7-0. Yes, you haven't been able to score. But you got to go with what works. And what works to get down the field was that hurry-up, tempo offense, which really kept Scecina's defense on their toes. They didn't really exactly know what was coming. A couple chunk plays. But, Joe, I mean, you look at the yardage differential. Passing for Scecina, 83 yards. Rushing, 47. Speedway, 58 yards to the ground. Just 13 on the ground. Obviously, that 39-yard touchdown pass, the difference here so far. But, yeah, I mean, if you're Speedway, you don't need to abandon the run game. But when you do run the football, have those up-tempo type runs that we've seen with McPherson kind of taking a step or two back in the backfield to get a running start. I think if you're Speedway, you keep going on that urgent offense, and hopefully that bodes well for you like it did there at the end of the first half.
Indiana Mulch and Stone, since its inception in 1987, Indiana Mulch and Stone has been dedicated to providing the highest quality products to landscapers, businesses, and residents in central Indiana. Our first priority and foremost goal is to establish long-term relationships with our customers by offering exceptional service and the highest quality landscape products. This philosophy has defined our success for the last 35 years and will continue for decades to follow. Contact them at indianamulch.com. IHSAA officials, participation in high school athletics does not have to end with high school graduation. Even if you have been away from the game for a while, you can get back in the game by becoming a licensed official in any of the 20 sports sanctioned by the Indiana High School Athletic Association. Contact the IHSAA office at ihsaa.org. Also brought to you by Tam's Sweet and Savory Cafe, a great atmosphere for breakfast or brunch. Open Wednesday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Tammy and her staff waiting to serve you and your family. Try the biscuits and gravy or the quiche. Coach recommends the BLT. They're located at 6427 Oak Landon Road in Indy. Also brought to you by Telemetry Sports. For more than 6 years, Telemetry Sports has been working with the NFL and multiple college football teams as a data and technology provider. Player speeds and accelerations that they're providing us is generated using computer vision, the same technology as autonomous vehicles. As you watch these players, keep in mind that over 18 miles an hour is lightning fast for a high school and impressive even for college athletes as well. Telemetry Sports, big shout out there, an awesome technology companies. Also brought to you by, finally, Serenity Home Care. Serenity Care Services is an Indiana licensed personal agency and Medicaid waiver service provider in central Indiana. We are the friendly, competent, experienced team of caregivers you've been seeking. Contact today at serenitycareservices.net. We're going to take another break here as we continue to work on our technical difficulties. Thank you so much for your patience and your cooperation. We will try our best to be back here at Beech Grove High School for Scecina and Speedway in their second half, and hopefully have that coverage for you soon. In the meantime, please enjoy either other games in the family of networks or keep it right here as we listen to some of our great advertisers here in IndianaSRN.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
You can do that?
Like an airplay?
Yeah.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Okay.
You want a career that will transform your life while you change the lives of others by helping them live well. With a health or exercise sciences degree from IUPUI School of Health and Human Sciences, you will gain an in-depth understanding of the healthcare industry while preparing you for a variety of graduate and professional programs in health. And with Indy as your classroom, you will have clinical options within leading hospitals right in our backyard, as well as a degree from Indiana University, reputable leaders in the healthcare industry. It all starts here.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
Okay. Welcome back to Beech Grove High School. Scecina and Speedway are set to square off in the second half. Joey Lindstrom alongside Tony Donahue. A bit of an unorthodox type of broadcast for you as we cannot get the picture on, but we do have live video here on one of the phones from our producer, Matt. And our cameraman, Otto, is actually FaceTiming in. So we are going to do essentially a radio broadcast for you here. So as you listen, try to imagine that you're there watching, and we will paint the picture for you. So Scecina just kicked off. It was a kick to about the 25-yard line and a return of about 15 yards. And so as we continue here, you'll see the picture go up. The score still is 7-0 Scecina after they had a great first half defensively. We touched on it a lot in that halftime show there, Tony. And now we see Speedway. Can they continue to build on that little bit of momentum they had? And this is going to be a handoff up the middle to McPherson, and he'll be dropped down after a 5-yard gain to the 41-yard line.
Yeah, and look, if you're Scecina, you're going, all right, they showed us something there on that last drive going into halftime. They showed us, hey, they can get down the field as well, just like we did. If you're Speedway here, decent little kickoff there. You got the ball at the 41-yard line right now. Keep that momentum going that you kind of built on at the end of the first half. And again, we're seeing it here with McPherson in the backfield. He's about 10 yards away from the line of scrimmage, so he should get a running start here. And if he can get that burst downfield, he's going to make some people miss.
Pistol formation, handoff, give to the left side of McPherson. He's got a first down for the Spark Plugs. That is a huge gain for them, and he is down at the 47-yard line of Speedway still.
Yeah, and again, positive yards because – Joey, as you know, those first couple of possessions, it was like every time they ran the football, he couldn't get downfield or he was getting stopped right at the line of scrimmage. So a second down and first down and 10
Yep.
here after that first down run here. And again, I think you go right back to him. As you see him, he's back about 10 yards out of shotgun, and he takes a snap.
The H-back pulls, and this is going to be a keeper by Watson. Watson's running up the left sideline past the opponent 30-yard line, and he'll be pushed out of bounds. A great run off the read option.
Yeah, absolute great run. You kind of see the momentum's not there on the right side. Keep the football. That's the first run we've seen from Speedway get to the edge and get downfield. So a great run there. It looks like about a pickup of 22, 24 yards and move the chains into Scecina territory already. Speedway continuing to grab that momentum that we saw them have at the end of the first half.
And so he actually was pushed later out of bounds at the 30-yard line. This is actually going to be spotted at the 38-yard line. Trips to his right. Watson will throw a hitch route into the middle of the field, the right center of the field, and that will be complete. Pass of about 5 yards to Tyrese Johnson.
Kind of let him out to dry there, though, right?
Yep, a little bit.
You kind of throw a pass there because you need to get the ball out of your hands because, as a quarterback, you have that mental clock, and that when that mental clock gets to about 3 to 4 seconds, you're going, oh boy, that pocket's about to collapse. I need to get rid of that football, and we see it on every level from college, which starts tomorrow, in the NFL in a couple weeks. You have that quarterback clock in your head, so we'll see what happens here. But again, a nice, decent little play there to at least get some yards.
2nd and 6 as a trips left, and he will hand off to McPherson for just a couple-yard gain. 9:50 to go here in the third quarter, and a great effort there from Speedway to start to continue to try to establish the run. They're just kind of plucking away at these little gains, and eventually, you have to feel like something big is going to hit. A large portion of what Coach Clampett told us on the phone is that Carter Watson loves to make these little plays that just turn into big plays all of a sudden. So we'll see what happens here. Bunch to Carter Watson's right. No receivers to his left. Tight end in the backfield along with McPherson. He hands it up the middle, and he is swallowed at the line of scrimmage by the host of the Crusaders.
If I'm going to nitpick here, and again, look, I'm not a football coach in the state of Indiana, but if I'm McPherson, you got to have a little bit better vision. There's been multiple runs where he has ran straight into a pile instead of maybe taking a step in the other direction, right? Obviously, he's no Barry Sanders where no matter where he went, he found some hole to gain a couple more yards. But if McPherson wants to be an elite running back in the state of Indiana, it's going to start with being able to find where his blockers are and getting downfield in open spaces. I've seen multiple times tonight where he's ran into a pile of Scecina defenders.
Swing pass out to McPherson. He's got some room, and no one is going to – he does get hit right outside of the 2-yard line. McPherson on the wheel route gets stopped right before he touches the pylon. He tripped a little bit, but that was a great play by Mason Berryall to knock him over right at the 2-yard line out of bounds.
Yeah, the old quarterback wheel or the running back wheel route right there, right? You act like you're going to block. You spin off that blocker. A great pass there to kind of catch him in stride. And just like on the opposite side of things, you don't give up on the play. They stop him at the 2-yard line, but again, they at least stopped him, and now you set up your goal line defense, and maybe you hold him to 3 here as opposed to kind of giving up on that play, and he goes in for the touchdown. So we'll see what happens here.
A 29-yard gain for Speedway. This is a handoff up the middle to McPherson. He's met again by a swarm there of Crusaders right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Actually, I think they will give him a 1-yard gain. He's at about the 1-yard line there. So it'll be 2nd down and goal from the 1 for Speedway.
Look, there's one play and one play only to run in the situation, and that's the quarterback keeper. And what you do with 8:11 here to go in the third quarter is you have 2 men in the backfield. You have your quarterback take it under center, and you just simply push him in. They're not going to do that. Maybe that's their 3rd down call, but we'll see what they do here with 2 men in the backfield.
2 men in the backfield, that's right, off the split. And this is going to be Watson taking it, and he's going to scamper into the end zone off the read option. He beat 2 defenders. Speedway touchdown. Jalen Long was trying to reach for Carter Watson, and now with 7:51 remaining in the third quarter, Speedway Sparkplugs are ready to tie it up at 7.
Nice little quarterback keeper there. Just waited, and found the momentum. And it's only a couple strides into the end zone. So, Joey, as you know, even though it's early in this first half, a very, very important extra point coming up here to tie it.
And he's reading that defensive end. Jalen Long bit on the fake, and Watson got right around him. And now as he holds for the extra point, they await Cale Bennett's boot.
Flag.
There is a flag on the field, and I believe that may be a false start or illegal touching maybe by the long snapper there.
We'll see what they decide to call here because, look, I mean, that goes from about a 15, 17-yard extra point back to a 25 to 26-yarder, and that's kind of getting into a territory, Joey, as you know, of man, you don't want to see that happen. Like, you don't want to make it any harder on your kicker than what it has to be, and it looks like they are walking the opposite direction, so this certainly will be on Speedway, but it looks like just a small 5-yard penalty.
Anything to make it tougher on your kicker, Ben Haviland, excuse me, I misspoke earlier, is definitely not ideal if you are Speedway. But this is going to be a great extra point for him, essentially a regular field goal for the kid.
High snap, gets it down.
And that is through the uprights.
Yep. Speedway
ties it up 7-7. About midway through our third quarter. We're going to take a break here on Indiana SRN after the Spark Plugs just scored.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
Welcome back to Indiana SRN. We are viewing from a separate screen on FaceTime and providing you with the audio. Speedway just amassed a 66-yard drive to cap off and tie it here in the third quarter.
And they kept that momentum that they gained at the end of the first half, although they didn't punch it in the end zone. A nice kickoff here on a touchback. So Scecina is going to start their first possession of the second half from their own 20-yard line. They really played the field position battle well there. Almost punched it in for a late touchdown in the second quarter. But again, the fumble into the end zone made it a touchback. We got a 7-7 football game here already in the first half, in the second half. So great job of kind of going away from the game plan and adjusting if you're Speedway, and then taking that momentum that you built and moving on into the second half and getting that touchdown on the first possession. So I was very impressed there by what Speedway was able to do, marching downfield for that quick 2-yard TD run.
And now we get a chance to see Scecina as they line up in the I formation and an ace formation as well. Two receivers, both split out. This is going to be a toss to Fitz Ramsey on the left side. He is being pushed out of bounds and a late hit. Another penalty incurred by the captain, Carmel Perry, and that's not going to be ideal for Speedway.
And he smacks him on the helmet and says, "My bad, I didn't think that you were out of bounds yet." And look, honestly, if you're running on a charge and you see a guy that hasn't gone down yet close to the sidelines, you want to make sure he's down. So, yes, it's a tough penalty there. It'll move the chains, but, it's the old adjective, right? Like, you're ramped up. It's hard to hold back. And sometimes when you do hold back, you get injured, but we're not going to wish that on anybody, obviously. But you got to finish the play, and he didn't think the play was finished yet. So just a tough break there for Speedway.
Sometimes when the bullets are flying, you're not sure really what the right speed is or what have you. And this is an opportunity now for Scecina to take advantage. They have been held stagnant now for the better part of 2 quarters ever since their first drive. So is this their opportunity now to get something going after that penalty?
Well, in Speedway's defense, the last time it was on the field, got that fumble into the end zone for the touchback, so they got the turnover. And they've probably been off the football field for 30 minutes in real-time action because you go straight into the locker room and your offense gets you 7. So we'll see if there's an added confidence here for that Speedway defense.
Out of the I formation, a fake to the fullback and a throw over the middle. There's going to be a pass interference call. The intended receiver was Jalen Long from the tight end spot. He was running that streak over the middle of the field. This is going to be another 15-yard penalty against Speedway.
Yeah, and it just looked like the feet got tangled there. Maybe the football was possibly too far gone and overthrown, but again, the right call nonetheless here, and back-to-back penalties has gained upwards of 20 to 25 yards here for Scecina, and they will move the football into Speedway territory all the way to the spot at the 45-yard line.
Some of the best things in life are free, Tony.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It was just like you mentioned, it's been a stagnant offense since that first quarter. So at this point, you take those chains moving however they can.
Definitely. Whereas Mendez gets his guys going. This is an opportunity now for Scecina to build on those penalties. Trips to his right, one receiver to his left, and one back in the backfield. That's Fitz Ramsey to his left. He fakes to Fitz Ramsey. Mendez is going to take it, and he's swarmed and dragged down by Marvin Germany and, Miles Miller. Both at the line of scrimmage, actually behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be a loss of 1.
Yeah, and I'm just not the biggest fan of these quarterback keepers. You haven't been able to gain a lot of yards here. You haven't been able to move the football down the field with these quarterback keepers. So it's tough for Mendez here on that first down play, only picking up about 1 yard. And again, it sets you up for a 2nd and 9. And all it's doing is getting your quarterback hit. And this Speedway defense likes to hit hard like we've seen here so far throughout this game.
Shotgun, trips right, running back to his right, protecting him. Going to go deep after the half rollout. And it is incomplete. Intended receiver was Burial once again on a 4 vertical route.
Yeah, nice deflection there by Speedway. If you can't make the interception, you look up, bat that bad boy down. But unfortunately, for Scecina, you're looking at a 3rd down and 9 here coming up. And, man, I tell you what, if you're Scecina on that 2nd down and 9, kind of throwing it deep like that, I'm not really sure that was the right play call. If it works, you're going, yeah, that was great. But now you're going, we're at a 3rd down and long because we haven't been able to convert any yards much here on the first 2 plays after that first down because of the penalty. So 2 first downs here for Scecina via the penalty. Obviously a late hit and then the pass interference. 3rd down, Mendez coming back here. And again, Joey going to look downfield for his man.
And Woods was there off the deep ball, but he did not haul it in. It was a little bit underthrown. And on the coverage there was number 3 for the Speedway Sparkplugs, Jazz Coleman, as well as Charles Mitchell. And it's a huge play for Speedway, too, because now it brings up 4th down and 9. And if you're Scecina, do you punt here or do you try to go for it?
Yeah, I think you punt. And I think if you're Speedway, you put 9 in the box and you say, let's not worry about the return because the last punt that this kid had from about the same spot only went 2 or 3 yards. So I'm kind of bringing a little bit of pressure here. It's so hard to do in high school football when you've got 3 blockers in front of you. But maybe a little bit of pressure here. We'll see with the punt.
The punt is high in the air, and it's going to be hauled in by Mitchell. He makes one man miss, tries to move back left to right, and he is being dragged down at the 27-yard line. They're going to call it the 26, in fact. And with 6:38 remaining in our 3rd quarter, Speedway is going to take over with a chance to surmount a lead here.
Yeah, and the momentum, as we talked about, has clearly been shifted to the Speedway sideline. You get that fumble going into the end zone for a touchback. You drive all the way down there, Joey, before the first half, and you get a touchdown. However, the penalty takes it off the board. You take that second half kickoff all the way down into the end zone, and now your second possession of this second half starts from the 25-yard line. The passing game has worked, but you still need to ride your horse and McPherson here in the backfield to get you some of those much-needed yards on first down.
Trips to Watson's left. He fakes the handoff, tries to throw out a bubble screen to Zach Warren. It's going to be incomplete, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, it's just a great pressure there, first and foremost, from the line from Scecina to get into the backfield. Speedway kind of falling in love a little bit too much here, I think, with that pass play. Yeah, it has worked at times, but on first down to throw a bubble screen like that, you're better off to just hand the football off and hope that McPherson can get you 3 to 4 yards because, again, you're at 2nd and 10 right now. You have to get yards here because we've seen this team not be able to convert on 3rd and longs.
It's one of those things, too. where you're throwing into the boundary. Do you feel like that's the right idea, especially if you're trying to run a screenplay?
It looks like we have
and
a
now
penalty.
there is a penalty on the field, and I believe that was going to have to be clipping or holding or something of the sort.
You know, Speedway's backed up here. I think if you're Scecina, you say, you know what, let's bring a little bit of pressure. Look, you know, Speedway's offense is getting a little bit too comfortable for what we want. Let's put a little bit of pressure in there and send a message here. But with doing that and sending the pressure, if you're Scecina, you can't get beat over the top with the long gain through the air. So you've got to make sure that you keep that football in front of you.
Watson will throw another wheel route. Here's McPherson on the left side to the 35, all the way to the 40-yard line of Speedway, and that is a huge play. They hit that play for a touchdown last week against Covenant Christian. Now they've hit it twice. One's almost for a touchdown, and now the second one for a huge gain of about 33 yards.
Yeah, and the timing's got to be perfect on the throw, right? You've got to lob it up enough that you can get it to where it needs to go, but enough to where McPherson can grab that in stride. Obviously a play they worked on several times throughout the summer. It looks like we might have a timeout here from Scecina. Got a lot of coaches on the field. But again, great play there for about 35 yards to set up the first down, and Speedway continuing to get those spark plugs down the field.
There is a coach on the field. There's no timeout formally called here, though. They're sending Fitz Ramsey back on the field. Coach Hurley is going to stroll off the green turf back onto the sideline for Scecina. So we have a pistol formation. Bunch to his right, close to the line of scrimmage. Watson will take the snap. He will hand off to McPherson up the middle, and he's dragged down immediately. A great play on the edge there by Calvin Connors, the linebacker captain.
Yeah, put a lot of pressure in the backfield. You grab those ankles and you pretty much hug them, right? That takes the runner down, so no gain there. A second down and 10. So Scecina really getting their first stop of a play here in the second half on the defensive side of the football.
Thank you so much for your cooperation and patience with us as we have dealt with some technical difficulties. That does happen, but as they say, the show must go on. Trips right for Carter Watson, running back to his right as well. He drops back. He's going to launch one deep over the middle of the field. It's going to be picked off by the opposite team's quarterback. That's David Mendez over the middle. He was hanging out like the free safety that he is, and he goes up and grabs that one.
And a great interception there to haul and a catch by a quarterback. Not a good decision there. The pressure was on. When you're a high school kid, the term throw the football away really doesn't come into your brain, especially when you've got the defensive rush coming at you. But, halfway through through this third quarter here, Speedway had all the momentum, but now Scecina takes it right back with the interception. We'll see if they can do anything there. Like I said, they're falling in love with that pass a little bit too much on the first and second downs. I would have liked to seen a few more runs there, and on second down it comes back and bites them there with the interception. But it's never a good idea to throw it deep when there's four maroon jerseys in front of your one defender.
And now from the 29-yard line, that is Watson's first interception of the year. He had thrown 30-plus passes before his first. This is going to be a handoff to the right side to Fitz Ramsey, and he will be brought down at the 34-yard line.
Yeah, and you talk about Scecina right now. You have to gain yards here. You got to make sure that you continue to move those chains.
Second
in the
and
second
6
half.
here for Scecina now.
Different formation, what we've seen here with 3 wide receivers to the left, and I think we may have a false start penalty here on Scecina, and that's exactly what it is. So a lot of penalties here throughout this entire game for Scecina, and a lot of that is simply just being week 2. You're at a different stadium than what you're used to, but it'll be interesting to see here. I mean, you've got some speedsters. I had my buddy Gordon Bauer used to be a speedster there at Speedway High School. If you've got to bring some momentum here on the defensive side of the football and get Mendez out of that pocket because he's been pretty comfortable in there so far.
Trips to Mendez's left. He's got Fitz Ramsey in the pistol. He'll hand off to him, and he's stopped immediately behind the line of scrimmage by a host of spark plugs.
Yeah, a great push there to get into the backfield and not allow any momentum. So
initial hit there was by Isola Ololade.
Who?
Isola Ololade. I hope I said that right.
I like it. I think you nailed it.
I want to make sure that he gets his name pronounced correctly. So I apologize if I mispronounced.
But again, I think it's third down here. You've got to keep that football moving downfield because you don't want to hand this football right back to Speedway without gaining any yards after the interception.
Trips left once again, running back to his left. Mendez rolls out
There's
to
the
his
pressure.
left. A lot of pressure.
Wow.
He breaks one tackle. He'll reverse fields back to his right side.
No way.
He's going to scramble. Here goes Mendez. Past the first down line on the 40.
Wow.
And he will gain a first down for Scecina. A crazy play, but he gets the first.
And I think we may look back, Joey, at this game, and that's the momentum-shifting play they needed. He is caught in the backfield. When you grab a guy by the shoulder pads, it's harder to take him down. He spins out of it. If you've ever seen the movie Friday Night Lights, that was similar to the very last play where he did everything possible to stay upright. We talked about getting Mendez uncomfortable there. Great vision, great awareness to scramble out of the pocket. And get downfield for that first down. So what a play there by Scecina to keep the ball moving and the chains. But it looks like
there actually may have been a penalty. I believe this might be
a holding,
bringing them all the way back. This will be 3rd and 9 for Scecina, so you have to negate that now. That was crazy. He was being almost ripped down with one arm.
Man, and
breaks that tackle, reverses field, goes ahead and gets a first.
7th penalty on the night for Scecina. That's kind of been the story of their offense. And now another 3rd down and long in Speedway with a second chance to get off the field here.
Hand off up the middle to Fitz Ramsey. Out of the shotgun formation, and this will be 4th down and 1.
I'm going for it. I am going for it.
An 8-yard gain for number 15, and he's been solid throughout the night. I wonder if they go back to him here.
I'm going for it. I think you keep the football in Mendez's hands. You only need about a yard, maybe a little bit more than a yard here. And, yep, they are going to go for it on the quick handoff.
It was a Twins formation. Fitz Ramsey gets the handoff, and this is going to be another flag, I believe a hold, most likely, or a false start. You never know.
It looked like it was a little bit more downfield, so either a hold or possibly a clip. You don't really see clips called too often in high school football because you probably could call it on every play, but we'll see what it is here. It is a face mask on Speedway. So Scecina again will move the chains via a Speedway penalty, set up a 1st down and 10 coming up. So, man, Speedway kind of shooting themselves in the foot here with yet another penalty on both ends. So, interesting to see what they do here with 3:36 to go. Just like on that last possession, Joey, however you can move the chains, you move the chains. You got 2 penalties on that last possession to move it down, and now you got another penalty to keep this drive going. So 1st and 10 coming up here right around that 47-yard line.
Twins here for Mendez. He will drop back, roll out to his right off the scramble, let one rip to Keaton Tybo, but it's just out of reach. Over on the right side, he was at about the 25-yard line of Speedway with no one in front of him, and he just can't reach that throw.
Mendez does a great job on almost every play of just keeping the play alive, holding on to that ball that split second more to get his receiver open downfield. He was open, but that's the second time we've seen him just slightly overthrow it. That happens sometimes when you're throwing on the run and you can't set your feet. But, man, a nice little pitching catch there, but goes for naught, and the officials get together. Do we see a penalty here?
Yeah, we've certainly seen our host of penalties here. And this is going to be holding on Scecina.
It's just one of those things where, you got to realize this could be for a lot of these players on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. This could be the latest they've gone into a game so far this year. Obviously, both teams with blowout wins last week, on their home turf. And some of those penalties that didn't really mean much last year when you were up 41-0 mean a lot right now in a 7-7 tie game here from Beech Grove between Speedway and Scecina. So Man, that's the 8th penalty on the night for Scecina, and really that's been the difference between this game possibly being 14-7 or 21-7.
Twins formation, running back to his left in the shotgun. Mendez will hand off to Fitz Ramsey up the middle, and he is stuffed, like Tony said, right at the line of scrimmage, and that'll be a gain of 0.
You know, Scecina's offense, as you mentioned, the word stagnant comes to mind, and really, I think what you have to do here is you've got to spice something up. You need to have some kind of misdirection, get the defense going one way. You've got so much field here to be able to do something with Mendez.
On that left side, yeah.
You've obviously have fallen in love with that quarterback keeper, and we got a timeout here from Scecina.
As Scecina takes a timeout, so will we. 3rd and 10 on our way back here in IndianaSRN with 2:32 to go.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you could be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
Sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Welcome back to this presentation of Scecina and Speedway on IndianaSRN. We are faced with a 3rd down and 10 after we've come back.
And you don't like to see this. When you got a guy running off the field as you get to the line of scrimmage coming out of a timeout, there's obviously miscommunications going on.
Definitely. There's been a few of those tonight.
And it looks like we might either have too many men on the field.
Delay of game, I believe, actually.
And it will be you can't have a delay of game coming out of a timeout if you're Scecina. And it just seems like that once that fumble went into the back of the end zone for that touchback, it's been all downhill for the Crusaders here, and Speedway's simply been able to take advantage. They're a team right now, if you're Speedway, you're going, okay, we got those jitters out in that first half. We're on the board, 7-7. Let's get off the football field here.
Trips left for Mendez. He's got a back to his left. That's Fitz Ramsey. He drops back, steps up in the pocket, lets one rip in a double coverage, and it was almost caught by Jalen Long over the middle at the 30-yard line of Speedway, but all for naught. It is 4th and 15 for Scecina.
Yeah, a tough play there, throwing it into the double coverage. Mendez is going to have to do a little bit better job as the season gets longer of looking at his checkdowns, looking at that 2nd and 3rd option. But we do have a penalty, and it's going to be a hold, which I'm assuming would be declined if that was indeed.
I guess they're taking it.
4th down. It must have been 3rd down.
It was 3rd down. Yep.
If Otto can pan to the scoreboard real quick, perfect. So we're looking at 2nd down. Sorry.
2:26 to go, and it is. Yeah, 2nd down and 25. Beg your pardon for the miscommunication. Again, just to update you, thank you so much for your cooperation and for accommodating us. Now Mendez with trips to his left and Fitz Ramsey to his left as well. He's going to reverse field after the rollout. He's got a lot of pressure, and he's going to be sacked. And just to finish that thought, we're watching on FaceTime via our cameraman, Otto St. DeJour, who's doing as good a job on FaceTime cam as he is with a stand-up camera and a tripod, so kudos to him. But another sack there for the Speedway defense, and this one came at the right time. Now it is 3rd and a mile for Scecina.
Yeah, big sack Traeger style there, all up in your grill. When Mendez has the football, he's kind of holding on to it a little bit too long, and he's trying to make more happen than what he needs to. And the last 2 times, it's really bucked him by being thrown down on the sack. So 3rd and about 35 here. I think he maybe just run it and just try to get a couple more yards.
Trips
we'll
right.
They go to the air.
Mendez drops back, and he's going to be dropped again. Another sack for Speedway. This time, a whole host of spark plugs in there, including and led by Devin Robinson and Marvin Germany.
Yeah, with a minute 15 to go here in the third,
Fourth
down
40.
and 40. I mean, you're gonna have to take Davey style sprint car to get 40 yards here for a nice little Speedway reference there. But I think you kind of bring the house here. No matter what, you're gonna probably get this football in decent field position, and it's a high snap.
High snap, but an even higher punt. It's going to trickle out to it's going to bounce at the 34-yard line and take a great Crusader bounce all the way to the, I believe, 46-yard line of Scecina, and that's where Speedway will get started.
Yeah, and a great job there by Nolan Carter, the punter, to continue, grab the football on the high snap and still get a pretty good boomer off. Got a nice little roll past the 50 as officials come together. We might have a penalty here with about 46 seconds to go in the third quarter. Again, 7-7 between Scecina and Speedway. Looks like there was a penalty on the play as the official walks over to the Speedway sideline to get it sorted out.
A lot of yellow laundry out tonight, that's for sure. And certainly in this second half, in this third quarter alone, this has been very apparent that both teams really haven't been playing with as much discipline as they've been used to.
Yeah, and I think if this is on Scecina, he's talking to the Speedway sideline saying, do you want to take it right here at the 46 because the penalty flag was back at the line of scrimmage? Do you want to take it at the 46 or do you want to make them re-punt? We'll see what the official word is here. If it's on Scecina, I almost say – punt that thing again, but nope, they're going to just go ahead and take it from where the ball was marked. So Speedway going to take over this football from the 29-yard line, by far the best field position they've had, and it's time to pounce on it now, and I think you're going to see a lot of McPherson here throughout these next couple of plays starting at the 29.
Split backs and pistol formation. They're going to hand it off to McPherson. He bowls over a defender, but then he's met immediately by the following on the Crusaders, including Calvin Connors as well as Keaton Tybo, both captains on this Scecina team, hammering him down, and he only gains about one. So it's 2nd and 9 for Speedway.
Yeah, Connors quietly having a really good night here, making the tackles that he needs. And that's tough to do with a guy like McPherson, who we know can get down the field. We've seen him on a couple of those wheel routes, be able to turn 4 to 5 yard plays into 10 to 15, even longer plays, and that as we've come to the end of the third quarter here. We'll see if they actually get a snap in with about 8 seconds to go.
They're going to try to run it. They do. It's a small formation. Watson is going to throw out to his left, and it's going to be incomplete, and there's going to be a pass interference penalty. Landon Short was the intended receiver, and the guilty party is Mason Berrialt for Scecina. It was a flag route to the left side of the field. Watson let it fly over to Short, and it was interfered with.
Yeah, he had him beat. The ball was a little bit underthrown, which turned out to be what Speedway needed. He went back for the football. The defender gets into the way. A good pass interference call there on the opposite end of the sidelines. Nonetheless, we've reached the end of the third quarter, tied at 7, but Speedway in the red zone looking for their first advantage of the night and to go up one score. But we do have a penalty flag, it looks like, which is not abnormal in this game, and it's going to be, we have a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage as well.
Some possible offset penalties, possible just confirmation of what we've already seen.
Yep, holding.
This actually is going to be, I think it was a block in the back possibly.
It was holding on the offense, and it was a pass
tell.
Interference on the defense, offsetting penalties. So when we start the fourth quarter, we will do it all again. So, if you're Speedway, you've got to take advantage of this. This is the best field position that you've had all night. You have the momentum. You're looking for your second straight score to take the lead. But we're setting ourselves up, Joey, for a really, really fun fourth quarter here.
I think they're going to replay the down here. It looks like both teams are setting up, so don't go quite anywhere yet. They're going to run one more play for the end of the third quarter. I don't know why you wouldn't just run it down and go to the fourth.
Well,
but regardless,
I think the clock will stop with that offsetting penalty.
Yep.
With
play an untimed down.
It was an incomplete pass as well. So
it's going to be a bunch right, 2nd and 9. They're going to hand off to McPherson. He's just going to gain 1 yard up the middle from the pistol spot, and that will bring us to the end of the third quarter. Thank you so much again for your cooperation being with us here in Indiana SRN. At the end of 3, it is 7-7 Speedway and Scecina, and an action-packed fourth quarter coming up after this. Welcome back to Beech Grove High School, where Scecina hosts Speedway. It is 7-7 at the end of 3 and now the start of 4. I'm Joey Lindstrom alongside my broadcast partner, Tony Donahue. This has been a roller coaster of a night, really from all aspects, from the game and how it started to our technical difficulties here. Now we're audio and scoreboard only, as you see on your screen, essentially a radio broadcast. But we're so glad that you're here with us to recap what just happened. So Scecina had a handful of penalties. They went all the way back to a 3rd and 35. They get sacked. They punt, and then they have an illegal block in the back. They have a personal foul penalty, bringing Speedway all the way up to the 29. And now Speedway is hanging out at the 27. Rolling out to his right is Carter Watson. He's looking for his receiver downfield, and it is going to be incomplete, intended for Jazz Coleman on the right sideline.
Yeah, great job by Watson there to just get rid of the football, kind of throw it up to the sidelines. Maybe your guy goes and gets a play, but incomplete. You're down here now. The field goal range is about 30 to 35 yards, I would say, where you're going to be comfortable. Scecina has proven that they haven't been able to move the football since early in that first quarter. So if I'm Speedway, you hate to think 3 as that was 3rd down. So they will line up here for the field goal attempt. This is a 46-yarder, Joey. This will be interesting to see what they end up calling here. But they originally had the field goal crew lined up, but now they're going to talk about it.
4th down for Ben Haviland, the kicker. This will be his longest of the season. Obviously, he didn't even attempt one last week. And it's going to be important to remember, too, that this is a very long field goal for a high school kid. But he has 2 touchbacks on the year for kickoffs, so he clearly does have a bit of a leg to him. He's a senior, 6 foot, 170 pounds. Can he put his right boot into this one and give Speedway the lead? The snap, the hold, the kick is up, and it's long enough. Did it go through? It did not. Wide left for Ben Haviland, and we remain tied at 7.
Man, and I'm telling you, I don't mind obviously he's got the leg, right? And you're kicking from the far right hash. The ideal situation there would have been maybe more a little bit at midfield, but we do know he's got the leg now. All you got to do is get it to the 25-yard line for him to be able to kick it. Unfortunately, it just goes wide left there, first kick of the year, but that thing had plenty of distance. Scecina, maybe a second chance here, a second lease on life to be able to find some momentum that they built in that early first quarter because, yes, it's 7-7, but it seems like since the end of that first quarter, it's been all things Speedway here in a 7-7 tie game. So we'll see if Scecina can bounce back.
Now David Mendez and the Crusaders have some work to do. 11 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. Twins here for Mendez. Running back to his right. That's Fitz Ramsey. He'll hand off to him over to the left side, and he'll be dragged down after a 4-yard gain. We do see a penalty flag incoming. Both 2 penalty flags, in fact.
It almost seems like every other play has a penalty flag here.
Really does.
In the second half. But if you get caught holding, you get caught holding. And it seems like Scecina continues push themselves back with these penalties. So another 10-yard penalty here. That'll put them inside the 20-yard line on a 1st down and 20 coming up here. So you gain a little bit of momentum with the missed field goal, and then bam, first play. You don't even get a snap off before you give it back. So I think the message in the locker room will be to clean up these penalties regardless of what the outcome is here tonight for Scecina. Simply not getting called for these holds and false starts is going to be something that they're going to have to work on if they want to continue to build throughout the season.
Twins look again from Mendez. This time Fitzramsey is behind him. He'll get it on the counter. He spins out of one tackle, spins out of another, and he's finally roped down past the 1st down marker, and that's going to be a great gain of 11.5 yards there for Fitzramsey and the Crusaders.
Yeah, he just kept spinning and kept those feet moving, churning, and got past that 1st down, or excuse me, the original 1st down marker. To set up about a second down.
To
set up about a 2nd down and 9, which really, honestly, that's all you can ask for on 1st down there.
Right.
So we'll see if they can keep that going and keep riding that running back.
Trips to Mendez right. He's got Fitzramsey to his right as well. He'll hand off to him again. Fitzramsey breaks 2 tackles, goes back up the middle, cuts back, and he's going to be brought down past the real 1st down marker this time at the 45-yard line of Scecina.
Yeah, and Fitzramsey, we saw it last week. He had a bunch of rushes that had good bursts to them. This is exactly what they need. So you move the chains again, despite the penalty. You get a 1st down on this drive. You're into the 40-yard line. You're almost, 45-yard line. You're close to Speedway territory. Ride it till it bucks you here. I go right back to Fitzramsey.
Trips left for Mendez. He will change Fitzramsey over from his left side to his right side. He'll hand off to Fitzramsey again. Why not? But he'll be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Here's some score updates for you. Chittard leading Arsenal Tech 48-8 in the 4th quarter. 5 minutes left to go in that one. Whiteland 14-7 over Lawrence North at the end of 3. HSE leads North Central 38-0 at the end of the 3rd quarter. And Evansville North leads 14-0 at the end of its 1st half. Trips left here for Mendez and the Crusaders. Fitzramsey to his left. Showing cover 3 is Speedway. He'll fake the handoff. And now going over to his curl route. He's got his man to the left side. That is Woods. And Woods scampers for a gain of about 16.
Great play call. Was all alone when that football came to him. And at that point, you're going, just get this football into my hands. I've got some space. It gets there for a pickup of 16. And it looks like we may see another penalty. And it's another holding call on Scecina. Bring it back.
Crazy.
That is their, count them all up, 12th penalty of the night.
And if you're a coach, you just got to be kicking yourself because you don't understand. Typically, this team is very sound and disciplined. Last year, you don't amass a 10-4 record and go to semi-state by getting penalties, right? Yeah. This is a lot of positions with new faces, but they have a lot of veteran leadership, especially in the skill positions. So those guys have to take command and say, "Let's go, guys! Lock in real quick."
Yeah, and I think if you're Scecina, you're going, "Yeah, we're going to be rated because of these penalties. We better win the football game because maybe instead of having to run, and
this is another false start there. Left tackle moved.
12 of them. 12 penalty flags.
Now
for
13,
Scecina.
Right?
Make it 13.
Yep.
No, I think that is the 12th. The last one was the 11th.
Okay.
This is the 12th. Again, what I was just saying before I could even finish my thought before another flag came out is you at least want to win this game because you don't want your coach yelling at you after a loss because of the penalty flags. You at least want him yelling after you after a win. So
right. You'll run on Monday, and it'll be fine.
This just keeps continuing to stall the momentum that they continue to have. So we're looking at a 1st down and 20?
I believe so. Maybe 25. Mendez had trips to his left. He's going to drop back, try to launch this one deep over the middle. He did get smacked, and this is going to be incomplete, intended for Mason Berryalt.
And guess what? We have a flag.
Another flag on the field. This might be actually on the opposite side.
Yeah, I think this is a pass interference call. Looks like it's going to be on Perry. But again, I mentioned this back early in the 3rd quarter. when I said, look, when you're throwing these deep balls, it's going to end up coming back to haunt you. And this is what happens when you end up in a 1st and 20 or a 1st and 25 situation. And now they're going to have a 2nd and 27. But I do believe there's a penalty here, so we'll see where they mark the football. And it should be an automatic first down for the Crusaders of Scecina. But, again, when you continue to throw the football up like that, it's eventually going to get picked off.
9:36 to go. 2nd and 27 now turns into 2nd and 13 for Scecina after that penalty against Speedway. So this is a little bit more manageable now with 9.5 to go.
Yeah, you want to get points here. You need to get points here, which is easier said than done, knowing that they haven't been able to move the football like they did in that first 2 possessions of the first quarter.
2 receivers to each side. Now in motion is Long. He's going to Mendez is going to hand off to Fitz Ramsey. He's got a whole lot of space to the 30, to the 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Escort yourself, Mr. Fitz Ramsey.
58-yarder from Fitz Ramsey. We just talked about keeping the football in his hands. A little misdirection there on the pitch, and he takes it to the house. 58 yards out to the end zone. 13-7 Scecina. Who cares about those penalties when you can rip off? You got a guy that can rip off 58-yard runs like that on the miscommunication play.
He came out of there like a lightning bolt, and he ran all the way down to the end zone. A huge play for Scecina to start to take over this game, and that was a huge play, not only because of all the penalties like you mentioned, but he got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, and when you get him in open spaces, he is a big running back. You look at how big he is on the field. He's got speed. He can lower his shoulders. The extra point goes up and is true.
I think he's all of 6'2" back there, by the way.
Yeah, so, you would take that any day of the week. So with 9:25 to go, Scecina grabs that momentum back and takes the lead.
14-7 our count. 9.5 to play here at Beech Grove High School. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll be right back here on IndianaSRN.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
Welcome back to Beech Grove High School. Scecina leads 14-7 after a 59-yard run. Is that what you said?
58 yards.
58-yard run by Fitz Ramsey. And Brandon went to the house and then some. He got shot out of a cannon on that drive. And now kicking off, Scecina will give it back to Speedway. And this is their moment now here, Tony, as we talked about it at the break there. This is a huge possession for the Sparkplugs, the biggest of the night.
Yeah, great kick there into the end zone, touchback. So they'll start 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. You got 80 yards to go. Just over 9 minutes left. You more than likely have 2 possessions, but you really need to score here if you're Speedway, because you're going, man, we had the momentum, and Scecina kept shooting themselves in the foot with these penalties, and we had them right where we wanted them to take control and take the lead in this game. And then all of a sudden, Fitz Ramsey says, yep, don't forget about me. 58 yards to the house, breaks a few tackles, and that's the difference right now at 14-7.
Now starting at the 20-yard line is Carter Watson. He's got 2 receivers to his right, a tight end to his left, and another receiver. Jet motion. They'll sweep it over, but he'll take it himself off the fake. Watson will gain just about 1 yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9 for Speedway.
Yeah, just Scecina reads that really well, gets into the backfield, and doesn't let Speedway advance anymore. So 2nd down and 9 coming up here. Really, if you're Speedway, I think your 2 options are, 1, keep the football in McPherson's hands, and hopefully he breaks one like we saw Fitz Ramsey just do. Or you've had some success with that quarterback to running back wheel route, right? You've had 2 big gains on that. Can you go to that for a third time and get McPherson into some space on a nice little wheel route pattern?
2 tight ends stacked on his left. He's going to boot out to the right and complete to one of his tight ends. That is Perry, who seems a little gimpy there. I think he cramped up right at the end of that catch, but he gains about 4 yards to make it 3rd down and 4.
Nice one-handed grab there. Reached out, got it. And it looks like we're going to have a timeout here as he stays down injured with 8:32 to go. A 3rd down and 6 here. I don't think you're obviously not in 4th down territory, but you've got to find a play here that can get you to the sticks.
We're going to take another quick break here as they address the injury of Perry. We'll be right back on IndianaSRN.
Bertner Electric Incorporated has been proudly serving our residential and commercial customers with quality electrical repair for over 33 years. We are fully licensed and insured in electrical wiring and electrician service packages. You'll receive a competitive assessment, whether you're a homeowner or a business owner, first-time or long-time customer. We offer free estimates for any new project. Call our licensed and experienced electricians today.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Welcome back to Beech Grove High School. Scecina hosts Speedway. It is 14-7 in the 4th quarter with 8:32 to play, and 3rd down and 4 for the Speedway Sparkplugs. This is where you make your money. You need this possession to go well, or else you face a mean Scecina team who wants to put this game away and out of reach. And Scecina with 13 penalties amassed today, Tony. It is amazing what they've been able to accomplish while they've been shooting themselves in the foot.
Better win this football game, or Monday is going to be a long dang practice. See what happens here with 3-0 and a jump here, and they're going to call it on Speedway. It's going to be a false start, so make that now a 3rd down and 11 yards coming up. So, both teams, and this is a product of just being week number 2. Joey is false starts and the timing isn't there, and you probably only got 2 quarters with your starters last week because they built such a big lead, which means when you build a big lead like that, you probably had some long plays. So these teams might only have 25 to 30 plays under their belt coming in tonight, so the timing just isn't there. But you got to get these cobwebs out here in week 2, because if you start taking that into week 3 in conference play, it's going to kill you.
Twins for Watson. He's going to launch one deep into double coverage. It's going to be overthrown, and no penalty flag here for pass interference. He was trying to hit Jazz Coleman on the skinny post over the middle.
Yeah. Again, throwing it deep when there's nobody around. But defenders, you're either going to end up with an interception. You can hope for a interference call, but that's not going to happen. So Speedway going to punt here on about a 4th and 12 coming up with right around 8 minutes to go in this one.
And that hurts, too. You definitely needed that possession to go well if you're Speedway. But not only that, it also would give you a confidence boost for the rest of the quarter, if not the game, if somehow this game were to go to overtime.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Speedway and your defense is about to come on the field, you say, you know what, we've been pretty dang good besides 2 or 3 plays. Obviously, the one comes to mind. The 2 come to mind at the end of the first half. One wound up being a fumble into the end zone, and then obviously that big 58-yard touchdown run that we just saw. So if you're Scecina's if you're Speedway's defense, you're going, we just got to keep stopping them like we have. And if you're Scecina's offense, you just want to go on a nice long drive, move those chains 4 or 5 times, chunk off 4 or 5 minutes off the clock, and obviously end up finding some black end zone there to go ahead by 2 scores.
On to punt now is Cale Bennett.
Man, you got to get off a boomer here.
And we're going to have some substitution issues. Not enough men on the field there for Speedway.
Oh.
And this, we didn't have these issues in the first half. The second half has been plagued with substitution issues, illegal formations, false starts. A lot of these non-negotiable things that coaches go over way too much for these kids. to keep messing up, and unfortunately it keeps biting them in the butt.
When you have more penalties than points on the board for either team, that's never a good night, and so far 13 on Scecina's end, 8 now on Speedway's end. That's super tough. Straight up into the air. Doesn't look like to be a long punt at all. Take a bounce at the 40 and be down there at the 38. So, unfortunately, Scecina doesn't have a lot of way to go, but going up 2 scores here, unfortunately, you won't be able to click off too much clock being that close with that possession where they just landed the ball. But, again, with 8:06 to go here, you go up. Even a field goal puts you up 2 possessions, and that might all but do it here for the Crusaders. But, again, still a lot can happen in 8 minutes.
Their defense, led by Calvin Connors, has been stout throughout the night, and it's indicative of the way that they're coached. So many times they've been able to stop Speedway in their tracks after Speedway really had their way with Covenant Christian last week. So now Mendez in the offense will line up in I formation. 2 receivers, each split out on both sides. It's a handoff to the fullback up the middle. That will be Keaton Tybo.
Yeah, quick 4 yards, no problem there. No need to go to the air here if you're Scecina. Keep running that football, and if you can move those chains via the run, you're gonna find yourself inside of the red zone here before you know it. So, nice little fullback gain there for 4 yards, and keep the football on the ground here.
Covenant Christian leads Traders Point 43-13 on our other side of our family of networks. Pistol formation, strong eye. Fullback to the right of Mendez and a back to the behind. He will give it to Fitz Ramsey, who's going to bounce it to the right side. Try to throw a stiff arm and trying to stay in bounds. He's unable to.
And Scecina wanted a horse collar tackle there. We could actually hear the crowd looking for that. It looked to me, and again, I'm in a studio 15 miles away looking off of an iPhone, but it looked to me like a horse collar tackle there. He got his hand underneath the shoulder pad, but wasn't called, so must not have been seen by the officials. But staying in bounds there to keep that clock running also key.
Now at the 30-yard line, a big play there for Scecina as they line up an I formation once again. You can assume a run is coming as they try to chew clock and continue this. It's a give to Fitz Ramsey up the middle. He does have some room. He's going to be dragged down. I think that was a gain of 7, and that's going to be enough for the first down.
Yeah, first down there. Clock continuing to move. We should be right under about 7 minutes on the scoreboard here. And again, time is of the 7:10 left to go. Time is of the essence here for Speedway. You got to get something here, and that means you got to bring pressure and you got to try to get the football. They got that miracle early in the game in that second quarter where it was fumbled into the end zone, but you can't allow points here. This game will pretty much be sealed.
I formation once again. We know what to expect here from Scecina. Speedway not really showing any blitz of any kind of sort. They're going to give to Fitz Ramsey on the left side with the fullback leading, and he's going to be brought down after a gain of 4 yards down at the 22-yard line. The 18-yard line.
And Shane Clampet's bunch here has to say, look, we can bend, we just can't break, but keep that football in front of you if you're the Speedway defense, because right now they look a little bit tired. And Scecina's been able to gain yards on pretty much every play this drive, which is more than likely going to end in the end zone if that keeps up. So you got to get something going here. You got to be a ball hawk. You got to try to strip it. You got to try to bat it down any way you get that football for Speedway.
Second down and 6 from the 18-yard line. Mendez, another I formation. Under center, gets the snap, hands it off to Fitz Ramsey, and he's going to be dragged behind. Someone grabbed a hold of his jersey there.
Great tackle by Ajani. Damola Ajani grabbed him there, brought him back, and stopped him from gaining any more yards. So third down here coming up in 5 from the 17 halfway through the quarter. This could be the game here for Speedway. I think if you're Scecina, more than likely you would kick the field goal if you don't gain any more yards here on 3rd and 5.
We've talked about the past results of each of these games over the last few years. And Scecina last year lost to Speedway 17-14. The year prior, they beat Speedway 14-3. A lot of defensive battles so far. Misdirection handoff to the left side back to Fitz Ramsey. He's going to be stopped at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring up 4th down and 5.
Great stop there for Speedway. Decision time here for Scecina. If you're confident in your kicker to bang this thing home and go up 2 possessions, I think that's the way to go. If you're not confident with your kicker, you got to come up with something to gain this first down.
We have not seen a field goal kicked quite yet out of this Scecina squad, but it'd be Carter Nolan to try to be the place kicker here. It's 4th and 4 from the 16, just under 4:40 to go.
I think you let the clock run down. You take a timeout to decide on what exactly you want to do. Again, we haven't seen the field goal kicking from Scecina. We know on Speedway side they have the distance, not quite the accuracy. I think with the football, if we could see the scoreboard one more time, on the 22-yard line would be a 30.
I think it may be the 18, actually.
The 18.
Still.
So if you're on the 18-yard line.
16, actually, I remember seeing it.
On the 16. Yep. So you're on a 16-yard line here. So you're looking at about a 30-yard field goal. You should be able to have a kid that has that distance. Sometimes you play the whole, hey, we're going to go steal a kid from the soccer team that can boot it. If I'm Scecina, I'm kicking this field goal. If it goes in, we're up 17-7, 2 possessions. If we miss, they still have 84 yards to go to get a touchdown. So right. I think the right call here is to line up and attempt the field goal.
Coach Hurley giving an invigorating speech to his squad. This is a team that just got bounced by Lafayette Central Catholic last season in the semi-state game. They were that close to reaching the state championship game against Andrean. And it was one of those games that just went back and forth, but LCC eventually got the edge in that game. Now Scecina with the revenge at the tip of their tongue.
Field goal.
Need to win all these games that they have ahead of us. They're going to go for it here on 4th and 5 from the 16.
Try to get him the jump. We'll see if that's the plan.
It's not. They're going to fake it to
Quarterback
Fitz-Ramsey. Quarterback keeper by Mendez.
Touchdown.
He's got a step, and that's going to be a touchdown on the left side.
Wow.
Speedway did not see it coming. A naked bootleg. No one to stop Mendez. He made one man miss, and he was off to the races.
Wow, and it looked like Speedway had him stuffed in the backfield. However, Mendez said, nope, I'm going to keep this down the sideline to the end zone. What a great play call there. I don't know if I can say this, but I will. Very ballsy play call there, because if you do stuff him there, it's still a one-possession game. But great job there, and maybe that'll get him out of a few sprints coming up on Monday due to all the penalties. But what a great play there. Mendez punches it in from 16 yards out.
That was reminiscent of Jake the Snake Plummer, who made the bootleg famous. And now on to kick. This is going to be a fumbled snap, fire drill, and the play stopped.
False start?
I think they may call a false start and give another chance here for Scecina. Yes, it is going to be that. Actually, an offsides on
Go for 2.
Speedway. Yeah, you may as well. Now it's 20-7. Our count. Scecina up ahead with a commanding lead given the circumstances we've seen in this game so far.
What a game, as you mentioned, Joey, of roller coaster, right? High school football is all about momentum and having that advantage over your opponent. And we've seen it go from one sideline to the other multiple times here throughout this second half. So with this extra point attempt coming up and under 4.5 minutes to go, this seems like insurmountable odds for Speedway to be able to charge and make a comeback.
4:25 left to play as Speedway gets on for the extra point. A couple of final scores here. Hamilton Southeastern has defeated North Central 45-14, and Whiteland has defeated Lawrence North 24-13. Snap, hold, kick.
Good.
And it is good. 21-7. The Crusaders of Scecina lead